fail to see how gravity provides the frictional force that slow the upper atmosphere down.
About the only force I could think of would be the tidal force.
Yeah, possibly.
But that's only going to slow it down over billions of years.
Yeah. At the same rate it slows the Earth
Exactly.
down. So it's still going to be moving with the Earth. He has no idea what he's talking about. Well, he claims that's what mainstream science says. I said, I don't think so, Witcher. I've never heard that. In fact, I've heard the opposite. There's a bit of a conundrum that goes on over the idea that based on some measurements we've made with satellites that there's actually a super rotation of the atmosphere when you go high enough up. The atmosphere far enough out is actually rotating faster than the Earth.
There's actually a coupled cycle where sometimes the atmosphere is spinning a little bit faster than the Earth, sometimes it's spinning a little bit slower, and it kind of like oscillates backwards and forwards in a cycle. I forget how long the cycle is, but it's definitely there. And it's kind of like it's coupled through obviously the friction with the ground. In that when it slows down, obviously the friction with the ground speeds it up again, right?
Yeah.
But if it's going too fast, the it's the other way.
Was Richard just trying to make himself relevant recently?
Yeah, that's what he's constantly trying to do.
Because that's what I noticed on Toon with what's his name? I can't think of that. I can never think of that guy's name. Who hasn't been on for some time, and then he said that Richard suddenly sent him all these emails and stuff, and it's sort of like he was sort of gone off for Flat Earth for a little bit, and suddenly Richard's trying to make out that he was the reason he's gone off Flat Earth. That's one of the videos I looked at as well. What's his name?
Well,
B.
yeah, well,
Go on, you go.
what's it claimed that mainstream science says that the drag in the upper atmosphere slows it down? And I said, you post a citation for that, would you? So he posted a citation, and it was about drag on satellites in low Earth orbit. I said, wait a minute. That's yes, I understand there's drag on satellites in low Earth orbit. Sure, they're going a lot faster than the atmosphere. It's not talking about the atmosphere slowing down, dummy.
It's actually a lot more complex than you might imagine, because as you get high and low pressure systems and heating and the atmosphere expanding and air
Yeah.
moving to different latitudes and stuff like that, the atmosphere grows in height and shrinks in height.
Yeah.
And as it does that, of course, angular momentum changes because the total angular momentum's got to be conserved.
Right.
And so it has to slow down or speed up, depending on how thick the atmosphere is. It's really quite complex, and I don't think Whitsard would even consider
No,
how complex it actually is.
it's extremely complicated, and I pointed that out to him. I said, you got to realize, that you're thinking about this. I mean, when I'm talking about this right now, we're not even talking about any of the details here. We're not talking about vertical movement movement of air column um, uh, due to the uneven heating of the surface of the Earth and things like that, because that really is that really adds a lot of complexity to any atmospheric model.
Of course it does. I mean, you can take the simple thing, the atmosphere spins with the Earth, and then you can go into a little bit more depth. There's a
Yeah.
cycle. Sometimes it goes a bit faster, sometimes it goes a bit slower. And then you can put even finer details onto that, saying that different parts of the atmosphere are actually rotating at different speeds, you know,
Yeah.
upper and lower, and also within bands around it too. Like there'll be some parts where the atmosphere is being compressed because the bits behind uh, speeding up a little bit and moving through a road system. You know how the speed at which the blockage actually travels along the freeway.
Yeah, it's a bit compressible, and so you get springy type things happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
until we had modern, supercomputers. Hell, they had a hard enough time predicting yesterday's weather, much less tomorrow,
yeah,
Yeah.
but
because it
even
is
that,
so damn complicated.
yeah. People like to think it's
No,
easy, but
I was looking at the ducks when I was feeding them today, and I reckon there's a damn good physics paper waiting there. The way they run around the tractor in a circular motion, sort of like as they do it. But you observe them really carefully, and you can see that there are kind of like waves that travel through the pack of ducks.
Yeah,
It's quite fascinating to actually watch it happen.
it's just that flow that most birds seem to have. But yeah, I've seen it with chooks. I haven't seen it with ducks, but I can imagine just similar. They just sort of move together, and you know, hmm.
it's fascinating watching one of those big, huge flocks of birds. As that whole thing changes shape in the air. It's really wild looking.
Yeah, it's kind of like a macroscopic object in its own right, isn't it?
Yeah,
You see the same with fish, with the bait fish and the bait balls and the um, you know, they'll have the sharks going through the middle or seal or whatever, but they seem to be able to separate so that there's nothing near that big animal, but they're all fairly safe. It's yeah. I've seen people try to replicate that in computers. Well, they do, obviously, for CGI and for movies and stuff with particle um, generators, etc. Um, I I did a little bit of it a long time ago with trying to simulate rain for indicating how rain worked in a catchment area. But what they can do now is quite phenomenal. Well, doesn't look like haven't got much of the Brits coming
So have you
tonight.
had a chance to watch?
Go on.
Have you had a chance to watch Toon's pathological narcissistic grandiosity video?
I
no,
Oh,
I
caught.
haven't.
watch it. He absolutely destroys Whitset.
I had thought of putting some
I'll
of that
do
on.
it. I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Because Toon had quite a few things on today, so I was trying to catch what I could between meetings. And yeah, that's why I was asking about Whitset. He seemed to be having a bit of a
A bad day.
a bad day. Well, it was more he just seemed to be trying to
Yeah,
make himself
that's the
heard.
understatement of the year, actually.
Yeah. I think maybe since ChatGPT came online and he can sort of try and use that to fill in the work that he doesn't do. But
Well, that's what
ChatGPT
he's been caught doing, essentially. That's what Toon's caught him out at doing. So, yeah.
yeah, that was sort of what I caught, was that he's just getting it to try and pull up citations in math. That's the one I saw the start of that where he had, well, I assume it was the start, I don't know how far it in, where he'd put up maths equations and it was just rubbish, basically.
Well, we've all seen that when he tries to do maths, he can't. He gets it hopelessly wrong.
With someone who claims that he's good at it, he doesn't want to do it, which sort of...
Yeah, I mean, for someone who claims that he's an intellectual genius at maths, and yet he puts the mass of the Earth and the mass into Coulomb's equation.
Yeah. Gets fairly simple things wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind, you don't have to be a maths genius, but don't claim to be a maths genius if you're not. It's one of those things that's very easy to show up when you're not, when you don't know what you're doing.
And being okay at high school algebra doesn't make you a maths genius. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I did high level maths, but I was the bottom of the high level at the top class, and you know the stuff they were doing, which if they go on to university, you go beyond that. It's just if you don't know what you're just fooling yourself if you think no maths if you can't comprehend any of that. That's just I stick to my geometry and my enough physics to get me by in road design, and that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks he's a genius and knows everything about general relativity, but I bet he's never seen a hyperbolic elliptical partial differential equation in his life.
No, can't say I have to either, but yeah, I very much doubt he would have. That was the thing that Soon's pointing him out, is he hasn't read the papers, he's just read his commentary, for want of a better word.
The general public books available on them, right?
Yeah. Because
he'd be lost at the first or second equation in the actual paper.
Yeah. I think his issue, he has a reasonable gift of gab and a pretty reasonable memory. But it's one of those things, he can memorize things, but I don't think he understands it. So you can just pull it back up and put a few things together. So if no one tests what he says, it probably sounds really good. But as soon as you test some of it, looks like we might be short our British people tonight.
What?
Well, Alan says he's not well. Space Matt usually doesn't show up till about 11:30. Maybe 11. And I'm not sure what
Farmer's Boy's probably just a little bit under the hammer, pun intended.
Yeah, that's right. Trying to I think coming to the end of one contract and starting another one, I think.
Matt's probably still looking for a house for his kids.
Yeah. He's inherited kids.
Yeah.
So, there we go. I found an interesting thing. Have you heard about the fake moon pictures that Samsung put on their camera? I'll put this up. Switch this around here. There. That one. You there? See if I can find it. Where is it? That's Schooling Witsit. Schooling Witsit number 1, like. Oh, that was a while ago.
Oh, how does this all work on a flat Earth? Hello, this is Bryant Myers, and welcome to another episode of Debunking Flat Earth. I've taken about 3 months off here, and I have a few new businesses, so I don't have as much time as I used to do these videos. But every now and then, as time permits, I will pop back on, and of course it has to be inspired, and I tell you, this time it was really inspired. Witsit, as many of you may have seen on MC Toon's latest Witsit versus Witsit video, he kind of just out of the blue, after 3 months of silence, just emailed me these citations. And it's kind of humorous because at first, when I saw this, it's like, what in the world is he doing? Why is he asking me for access to these papers? And it says behind a paywall, so I mean, is he expecting me to pay for them? Or because I'm no longer teaching, so I don't have institutional access anymore. So just out of curiosity, I started clicking on these links, and several of them were dead. Then the titles, the ones that were live, the titles weren't matching the articles. They weren't even related to thunderstorms and gravimeters, etc. And then in some cases, the page numbers would just go in the middle of nowhere. And it was just totally this jumbled mess of links. It's like, what in the world? Is this some kind of a joke? Is he punking me? That's why I emailed him. Is this some kind of joke? And I mean, he confirmed it was him. And he said he just messed things up. But he didn't, there's no way, these were manufactured. There's no way that he could have mixed it up that badly. I mean, he said they were on his hard drive all mixed up, but these were just totally different titles. In fact, some of the titles didn't even exist when you did an exact title search. And so he's definitely lying about that. And it's probably Chat GPT or some kind of, artificial intelligence related search algorithm. Now, if you haven't seen MC Toon's recent Witsit versus Witsit video, please watch this, because I'm not going to go through all this because MC Toon went through each of these links. I mean, it's just comical, just how bad this is. So he did this already, so I'm not going to repeat that. But in one of the follow-up emails that Witsit sent to me, he did send me another link, and we're going to go over this this paper by Konstantin Mace, and he sent me a few other links on thunderstorm activities. And before we get into gravity and all the the fun stuff that he shared with his electric dielectric, well, his electric universe model of gravity, and he doesn't even want to talk about the flat Earth application, which we'll see, which is so funny. But before I get into that, I just want to briefly kind of go through this citation on thunderstorm activity with high precision gravimetric observations. And now these links did work. So when you go to the study, it just absolutely confirms Toon's first law of flurfs. What you find is that, yes, thunderstorms do affect gravimeters, but incredibly small levels. We're talking about like 7 or 8 decimal places of just tiny variations compared to the 9.81 relative average over the surface of the Earth. But here's the punchline. The paper itself said these observed changes, which can be measured by gravimeters, which are incredibly accurate to 8 or 9 decimal places, did show differences, again, variations, but it was due to the large mass of the rain clouds, not the thunder. See, Witsit thinks it's all electrostatic, so that the lightning strikes are what's altering the gravity. But this paper debunks his position, says it's the mass of the rain clouds, confirming mass attracts mass. Again, Toon's laws of flurfs. Flurf citations always contradict flurf's claims. But now I want to get into the gravity here, because and the electric gravity, where Witsit is trying to, just as in our first debate, he's trying to say, I told you so, Brian, I told you so. This paper dunks on you. This paper shows that I was right and you were wrong. And he just basically wanted me to admit he's right and I was wrong. But it turns out he's not right, and he doesn't even understand the paper he's sharing. But surprise, surprise. But what was funnier in this email here,
I think they cover this on Toons today. I think Tim was talking about this particular bit. I think it come in just as he got to it. Because I remember the black and white. Apparently that's what you get from ChatGPT, if you've got a Macintosh.
Cut and paste from
Sure.
Cat
What's it?
ChatGPT, yeah.
Yeah.
Sends me this sort of this breakdown of combining Coulomb's law and Newton's law. And Whitsitt, so I want to play this little video clip here because it's just so funny. Whitsitt thinks he's so good at math, he's so smart, and we're going to see just when we go through this just how laughable this all is.
And dude, it's well known that I have like an aptitude for math.
Okay, so I kind of want to go through this a little bit. So basically, you can't see this very well, but basically it's trying to set Coulomb's law equal to Newton's law of gravity. And essentially, let me just kind of give you the breakdown here. It's basically taking two protons that are a proton's diameter apart, and it's basically calculating. It's saying, okay, if we calculate the gravitational force between these two protons, a proton's diameter apart, it equals magically somehow. It's going to. He thinks, or this paper that he's cut and pasting from, thinks that it's going to equal Coulomb's law. And I did the math, and this is why I kept pushing Whitsitt. I mean, I sent him like 5 or 6 emails because he said, "Oh, I made a mistake. It's the math is wrong." I'm like, "Well, show me, Whitsitt," and he wouldn't show me. He's afraid to try to actually apply his algebra to see what's going on here, because even if he could do the algebra, it's not going to be what he's wanting. So I did the math, and it turns out when you look at the actual numbers, again, substituting in gravitational constant, I mean, you can kind of plug all this in here. I won't go through it. I'll put a link below this video so you can kind of see this for yourselves. But what you get is the gravitational force, again, using the known mass of a proton, the distance or the rate or the diameter of a proton, and the gravitational constant, which we know. We can calculate that the force, gravitational force between two protons is 4.65 to the minus 35th newtons. Very weak. And guess what? When we find the electrostatic force between these same two protons, and again, it's not going to be exact because if you have two protons, a proton's diameter apart, the charge distribution, I'm just going from center of mass to center of mass, which you can do with gravity, but you really can't do it technically with electrostatics, but it'd be close enough. And what you get is 57.47 newtons. So this is 36 orders of magnitude stronger than gravity. Now, where have we heard that before? Let's see if Whitsitt's heard this one before.
It's 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity claims to be. So I don't know why it's so hard for people to accept it. Well, when you say you try to control for the variable of electrostatics and stuff like that, you can never eliminate it. It's always there. It's 10 to 36 power stronger than gravity claims to be. How could you find a force much more than that? So we have a downward electric flow on the Earth. Electrostatics is 10 to 36 power stronger than gravity claims to be. Everything's electrostatic is 10 to 36 power stronger than gravity claims to be. You can eliminate the variable.
This is why Whitsitt is top left. I mean, I tried to log into several accounts to give my vote for Whitsitt to be top left. I don't think he's winning right now, but please go out and vote for him top left, because he kept going on and on in our first and second debate. The first debate wasn't really a debate with him, but the second debate that we had, he kept going on about electrostatics being 10 to 36 times stronger, and here it is. So yes, it is almost exactly actually. So how can you set these two equal, Whitsitt? You're sending me this paper here, right? See this right here? It's setting the force of gravity equal to the electrostatic force, and now it gets funnier because the math.
Yeah. It just goes to show that he had no concept of what that was saying. Yeah. I think the real interesting thing in Whitsitt, he's got skill, but I think he'd be a great prompter for a movie script or for an actor. I don't think he can act because he's not very good at that. But
the thing is, he presents himself as having skills, but he doesn't actually have the skills that he presents himself as having.
Yeah, as having.
His skill is deceiving people into thinking that he's got certain skills when he doesn't actually have those skills.
Yeah. But this is where I think if he was in acting or drama or something rather, where, he had the script, he had blah, 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 and someone needs to know what the line is, I reckon he'd be the sort of person that could memorise the whole script. Wouldn't necessarily understand it, but be able to tell you what the next line is. But,
Yeah.
But,
I did, yeah. Yeah, he keeps trying this very thing.
So that, because...
Oh, see how these guys are good. You can't take Coulomb's law from the center of like that, can
you? You can in a bit of a sense, yeah. But it's it gets complicated.
It's not only the wrong equations, and you can't equate the two the way that they tried to, but even the math. I was
just trying to get back so you can see what that's a bit hard to read, but it's that one there. I think it's the Coulomb's law in the middle of the equation.
There were errors in the math.
Yeah,
That's why I told Whitsitt,
to
it's like,
see.
you claim you're so smart at math. Show me the errors. And I kept pushing him and pushing him. And he's like, no, just look at the paper. That, I sent the wrong math. And I'm like, okay, you claim to be so good at algebra. Show me how the math was wrong. I just wanted him to see. This was like if he was one of my students, I would have wanted him to explore those two laws, put the numbers in, and see indeed the force of gravity is 10 to the 36 times weaker than electrostatic force. That way maybe he could have a little bit of humility and admit it's like, oh yeah, you can't really equate Newton's law of gravity and electrostatics because they're 10 to the 36 times stronger, which he says over and over in many debates, right? This is why it's so laughable and why he is definitely top left. And again, if I would have graded this, I would have graded it an F. It's just absolutely horrendous. But let's see, Winston, he brags about how good he is at math. This is so funny.
When I have like an aptitude for math, like if I sat down with you guys when we were in high school and algebra 2 honors, I would have smoked you, dude.
Okay, and I actually sent him that video. I'm like, Winston, if you're so good at algebra, just show me where the math is wrong. You say the math is wrong. He just doesn't want to talk about it. So I'm not going to go too much into detail. I'm going to put a link below if you want to check this out, but it's just so laughable. And essentially, oh my goodness. Essentially, what they're doing to setting electrostatics equal to the force of gravity, they're actually, F equals ma equals, you can do this. You can say F equals ma equals the gravitational force, right? And it's interesting, you can kind of see what this is actually G in this case, and you can see that G is going to equal gm over r squared. But we're talking about two protons here, protons diameter apart. So Witsitt's trying to equate these two, or this whatever he's sharing here. And what they do is they take F of G equals, the mass of the proton times the gravitational acceleration. Wait a minute. We're talking about the gravitational force between two protons. This G comes from the gravitational force between the Earth and any object, right? Because the Earth is so much more massive than any other object, so the other objects don't pull the Earth. But two protons have nothing to do with G. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And then somehow you can see here, it says G equals approximately 9.81. So somehow they say they plug the numbers. This is why I told Witsitt, it's like, Witsitt, you're so smart at math. Show me where the error is. If he would have plugged the numbers in, he would have found that, well, they did it wrong on the sheet, but if he did it the way you're supposed to based on this incorrect formula, you'd get 1.136 times 10 to the minus 8 meters per second, not 9.8. So we're talking, 7 or 8 orders of magnitude wrong. And then again, I'm using the wrong equation. So, but it gets even worse because the email that he sent me, they didn't plug in K, the electrostatic constant or Coulomb's constant. They plugged in the gravitational constant. So when you actually plug in the right constant, see K is 8.98 times 10 to the 9. You get 3.44 times 10 to the 28. That is 28 orders of magnitude wrong, using the wrong equation and the wrong approach. And of course, it's going to be ridiculously wrong because electrostatic force is 10 to 36 times stronger than gravity. So let's hear Witsitt kind of whine and complain, and then we'll...
I'm so tired of people saying I can't do math, dude. I scored like incredible on math.
So this is why we say you can't do math, Witsitt, because you refuse to do it. When I sent, like I said, 6 or 7 emails challenging him to correct the mistake. So just to kind of conclude this, and we'll move on, is that Witsitt in our debate, where it was just one-on-one, he admitted that Coulomb's law is almost the same as the gravitational law. Let's just hear this, because he just totally debunks himself, as we just saw.
We could use Coulomb's law.
That's Coulomb's law of electrostatics.
I know. Yeah, it's almost exactly the same as the gravitational law, but it's just charge is different.
Okay, he's saying it's almost exactly the same as the gravitational force, but the charge is different. We just showed that it's 10 to the 36 times, or electrostatic force is 10 to the 36 times stronger than gravity. And Witsitt here in our debate is basically saying that the Coulomb's law is essentially Newton's law. I mean, and even in my high school, I used to teach high school physics for a short period of time. My high school students wouldn't have made that mistake. That this is just beyond bad, and yet Witsitt has all this confidence that he's so smart, and he's basically 10 to the 36 times wrong. I mean, it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. And then the other thing he wouldn't explain, and I kept pushing him for this, is like, okay, and with this Mays paper we'll go over in a minute, how does this explain how does this all work on a flat Earth? And he wouldn't even answer that question. Even when I tried to pin him down, he doesn't want to talk about incoherent dielectric acceleration because it's been totally annihilated. And myself and MC2 and some others have just totally destroyed that ridiculous model. And right here he even says, this is where he finally says, just don't worry about how it works on a flat Earth. Prove it wrong. So he wants me to prove this Mays paper wrong, which we're going to go through next. But he doesn't want to even talk about. Now, this says volumes about Witsitt. This shows you that he doesn't care about supporting flat Earth as much as he cares about him being right and me being wrong. Because that was a lot of the emails you just say, admit you were wrong, Brian, about thunderstorms, about electric gravity. Admit you were wrong. And I'm like, Witsitt, I'm not admitting I'm wrong. I'll do a video this weekend, which I'm doing right now. And he keeps pressing me, but I have a couple other businesses going, so I can't do it on his timeline, but here I am doing it. So let's go over this paper. He kept putting it in my face, so I really want to go over it. And it's by Konstantin Mays. And before we get into the paper, this really is worth mentioning. It was published by a predatory publishing company, SCIRP. And if you look them up, you will see, yes, they are a predatory publishing company, also called write-only publishing or deceptive publishing, because they basically just charge fees, and anybody, it's like paper mill press publishing, anybody, they'll publish anything, as long as you pay them. And and it says right here that these authors they're published without checking the articles for quality or legitimacy. So right off the bat, this is not published in a credible journal or a credible location. In fact, Witsitt could almost publish something here if he paid the money to do so. So right off the bat, that's not a good sign. And here's some more red flags for me that I found. And it is pretty technical. I'm not doubting the guy is not smart. I mean, he is a scientist. He does have some credentials. But this is a very fringe paper. He talks about kenons and dark energy. Kenons is like some Greek word for vacuum, I think. Or dark light, not dark energy. Electromagnetic push gravity, and this vector potential amplitude quantization constant. So these things right here, I did some Google searches on them. And guess who? Constantine Mesa's name comes up. So whenever you have a paper that has terminology like this and you can't find it anywhere else, that's not a good sign. That means that it hasn't caught on. Other people are not referencing it or quoting it.
It's a bit like, yeah, I've invented it, and my source is myself.
It's a very, very fringe approach. And here's another thing. He embraces antimatter and matter having opposite signs, which means matter has charge, a positive, negative charge. But as far as we know, all our best theories show that mass always is attractive. It's not like electrostatics where you have a positive, negative charge. And there is a study which we're going to show here in a minute that would definitively say it could debunk this paper, perhaps even this year, this paper could be debunked. But until that study definitively showing if there is an opposite charge to matter, which it doesn't appear that there is, this is very fringe. No modern quantum field theory specialist will acknowledge that matter has a positive and negative charge. Because if it's got a negative charge, it means that it can be repulsive. So you get anti-gravity type of things going on between particles. And this is what he's proposing. I mean, this is a big part of his paper. So that's pure speculation. That's pure conjecture. There's no experimental evidence to support that matter has charge. And here's another thing that would say, he keeps thinking this is like such amazing proof that electrostatics is gravity, but the author himself admits it's only a hypothesis. So the author, it makes it right, you can see right here. Next, we will advance two hypotheses with cosmological impact. So this is not tested. There's no empirical evidence to back this paper up. And because of that, it's in no position to supplant our best tested and evidence-based theories of general relativity, standard model, and Big Bang cosmology. It's absolutely no position. And those theories have incredible validation to support them. These electric universe models don't have that kind of evidence. So now, PhD Tony, he really annihilated Whitsitt. I just love that debate. And this is one of my favorite parts. I just have to play this because not only is Whitsitt just sharing these papers, but he thinks he's in some position to critique them and to give his professional opinion on if these papers can validate his position. He's in absolutely no position to do that. Let's hear PhD Tony talk about this because he says it so beautifully. I mean, this is just perfect.
We can explode flat Earth models. We don't try. We have assumed the Earth is flat. We've tried to model it assuming that it's flat, and it doesn't work.
We tried to model it assuming a globe, it doesn't work.
And it does. Yes, it does work.
I just told you why it doesn't work.
No, you didn't. You cited a bunch of scientists who don't agree with you, and this is how we get back to the delusion aspect.
Such a fallacy.
You think that you are capable of analyzing and properly interpreting the papers, and you aren't. You cherry pick bits and pieces out of them, and then you present them as though you fully understand it, as though the authors would agree with your conclusion. Now you have interpreted the data, but you have no qualifications that would permit this. Instead, you have delusional self-confidence that you can read stuff that is meant for actual specialists.
All fallacies.
Shut up. No, all true.
All fallacy.
If you turn up at an airport and tell them that you've read the manuals and you should be allowed to fly a plane, what do you think they're going to do? Are they going to let you operate a plane? If you turn up at a hospital and tell them that you're the world's greatest brain surgeon and they should let you operate, do you think they're going to let you do it? No, they're going to want to see your qualifications. You don't have any. If you don't have any builder credentials,
fallacy.
they don't clean right. If you don't have any qualifications, then let's see your achievements. Let's see what it is that you have done, have contributed to human understanding and human technological development.
I mean, that is just so beautiful. It totally, in 1.5 minutes, PhD Tony encapsulates what Whitsitt is in this whole, how he thinks he's so much smarter than everybody else. But he's got no credentials, no experience, no achievements to validate his ridiculous positions. Now, admittingly, on this paper, there's a lot of parts that I did not follow. And I will admit that I'm not the most qualified person because I have a master's degree in physics, but I basically just taught, community college level physics. I never really got into the PhD and some of the higher level mathematics. But PhD Tony has. And I have a few other friends that also have, and I consulted with them on this paper, and I got some really great feedback. These are people that are better qualified than me, and certainly better qualified than Whitsitt to interpret this paper. And the first was an electrical engineer, one of the smartest people I know. I'm going to just keep their names hidden to be respectful. And what he says is that he read the abstract, and like I just mentioned, that the gravitational forces should be repulsive between particles and antiparticles. And so he says if we find that the anti-hydrogen gravitational mass to inertial mass is positive, which is expected by quantum mechanics of relativity to be +1, because we don't expect there to be a negative mass, then the hypothesis above is falsified. So his whole paper is falsified, and there actually is a study underway, because this is an inconclusive result right now until the study's completed, where there's a range of 110 to -65. So maybe it is possible that we'll find a negative mass. But until the experimental evidence comes back, this whole paper is just pure conjecture. And I'll put a link below where you can see this article, this paper here. But this experiment is still underway, so we have to wait a few months for the conclusions to come back. Now, even better is someone who has a PhD in physics and cosmology who also is absolutely one of the smartest people I know. And he took a look at these papers too. And the interesting thing is, even if the study with the protons shows that maybe anti-gravity is possible and there's a negative mass, which is doubtful it will, but let's say it does. He says that this paper still has many other problems. And this is a PhD in physics and cosmology who is, I mean, he just understands it at such a deep level. And he didn't spend a whole lot of time, but right off the bat, he could see errors that came right off the page. And one of the things he says is the sign of the gravitational potential is incorrect, should be negative. And that's just a fundamental mistake that he's got the wrong sign. I mean, and then when he and he basically says, I did briefly look at this paper, it looks like rubbish to me, but he needs to read through. So when he read it through, and like I just mentioned, he mentioned it's a predatory journal from a SCIRP journal, which is a predatory publisher. Very dodgy, as he says here. It's impossible to follow his reasoning because he doesn't have any, or he doesn't present any. He just makes assertions that are unsubstantiated. He seems to be trying to use the integrand in a quantum field decomposition to implement any gauge condition. In the Gupta-Bleuler quantization, one should remove the longitudinal photons by imposing a condition on the vector potential analogous to the Lorentz gauge, but with a subtlety. He seems to have done none of yours to buy his book to get the details. So,
does that mean anything to you, Paul? Probably not.
And doesn't really know what he's talking about.
I was going to say, yeah, I had no idea what any of that was. So, yes, gone way above my head.
There are other fundamentals which are quite outstanding in this so-called, and that is that once you start getting into fields of charged particles like plasmas and stuff like that, the electrostatic field behaves in quite a different way than an inverse squared field behaves. It behaves quite differently because you've got charged particles shielding other charged particles, and it depends on the Debye length in the plasma as to what happens with the electric field overall. It gets quite complex. It's not like a gravitational field at all.
Well, even with my very rudimentary look at it, I just can't see how electrostatics could work. There's too much stuff that could be done to change the way electrostatics work.
Yeah.
Whether you're putting cages,
and this is
different
the thing.
fields.
This is the thing. Whitsett, apart from not knowing anything about gravity, whether it be Newtonian or relativity or anything like that, he neither does he know anything more than fundamental basics about electrostatics either. He doesn't know electrostatics into any kind of depth either. So he's poorly qualified in both, and that's why he has such trouble identifying why one can't act like the other.
Well, my fundamental question for him is simple. Is simply this: if it's electrostatics that are holding my big fat ass down on the ground, how can that work? If I'm standing on the ground, I'm at the same potential the Earth is at.
Yeah.
How's that supposed to work?
Yeah, it's pretty basic. It's a fundamental high school experiment to show that when you touch a charged object onto the leaf, the galvanometer, that the leaves fly apart. Why? Because they've got the same potential.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how could that be? Okay, put me an inch above the ground, and I understand. Okay, there's a potential difference between me and the ground, and maybe you're opposite. Maybe I'm positive, the Earth's negative. Great, the Earth's attracting me. What happens the instant I touch it?
Yeah.
Well, shit. It doesn't send me flying back off into space. I know that.
Yeah. And even then, it still has the same problem with direction that the density and buoyancy crap does. How do you ensure that it's always the same direction?
Well, we can see the fundamental differences in those things very easily. Just by little simple things like putting shielding, Faraday shielding around things, right?
Yeah.
You can eliminate the electrostatics.
Maybe it's because we're isolated because we all wear shoes. Oh.
Yeah, but I've seen barefooted people walking around too, still stuck to the earth.
They've all gone to space.
Ah, well,
I mean,
how go ahead.
he claims that the sun is positively charged, right, and that the Earth is negatively charged, and that's why we orbit around the sun. That means that all the other planets must be negatively charged as well.
Well, yeah.
So does that mean that when Mars comes close to Earth, that Earth and Mars should repel each other then because they're both negatively charged?
Yeah, I saw your comment about that.
I mean, yeah, the example of how they found Neptune. They found Neptune because of the perturbation in the in the motions and the perturbation. It wasn't because the orbit was being perturbed, as in being pushed away by another planet. It was because it was being attracted by another planet. And if they're both negatively charged, that wouldn't happen, would it?
No.
No.
Hence why Jupiter's affecting orbits of some of our planets because of that attraction.
Yeah. Nah.
Jupiter must be negatively charged if it's according to Whitsitt, right? Our moons of Jupiter must be positively charged then.
It's worked well. His theory.
Maybe there's a third type of charge. So you can have a different charge that works for the sun than works for the other one. So.
Or maybe he's just an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, there are different kinds of charges. There's Visa and there's MasterCard.
Or Paul just cracked another joke.
That was a good one, actually.
Yeah. That was a dad joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, how was everybody?
Hey,
Let's
Matt,
not get into colour charge, hey?
Good, thanks, Matt. Good to see you. I'd only just got started, so.
Yeah, I checked back a little while ago, and then you hadn't, and then
Yeah.
now you are.
So that would be a poison negative charge. Positive negative charge, says cannabis. That would be the third type of charge.
Is that both positive and negative charge?
Yeah, that's what
At the
he's
same
trying to
time.
say. Yeah.
Maybe that's
The
what
ba-
Jupiter is, maybe, I don't know.
Attracts. Maybe it's a selective charge. It just switches, but its value
Yeah.
depending on what it's related to. So
Yeah.
I'll just see with the rest of it.
It
'Cause
just chooses to be positive or negative at any point. Oh, I'll be positive today.
yeah,
I'll be
why not?
I
positive.
think the word you're looking for is magic charge.
Magic charge.
Magic. Magic. Who's it? I just want to see if he
Here's the
goes
thing. This is
into-
really important.
I saw a bit. I just don't know if it's in here where Whitsitt said who his smart people were. Let's just see if that's in here. I'm not sure.
The thing with it, if you, now again, I don't really understand some of these ideas either, but if you don't either, it's really not our problem that you don't understand these physics. So in these papers that are published, if you can't follow along with this type of terminology, like this PhD can, you're in no position to critique this article. I mean, just as I admit, I'm not in a position to make a conclusion from it either. But this is a PhD who is qualified. So again, and then he even got the book, and he said the first part was okay-ish, though the standard theory was poorly written. So he said even the standard theory of, quantum mechanics and relativity and electrodynamics, he said that wasn't even written very well. But it's roughly right, he said. But then when he makes his own contribution, this is where this PhD who's qualified to make a critique goes horribly wrong. He has equations, for example, as one example, where the Hamiltonian h squared f equals p squared c squared f is just a function. Now h, the Hamiltonian, is a scalar operator, but p, the momentum, is a vector. And I certainly understand this. You can't equate a vector and a scalar. It's like saying temperature has a direction, or it's like saying, wind is just a number and not a direction. I mean, like which direction is going. So vectors have a magnitude and direction. Scalars just have a number. You can't equate those two. That is a fundamental error. So this right here is just terrible physics. I mean, these are mistakes that even, graduate students wouldn't make if they're good students. I mean, there are maybe even undergraduates. So here's a kind of his final conclusion about this paper. So it's hopeless. Everything else is just him trying to fudge the equations to cover his mistakes. All rather embarrassing for him, I reckon. Okay? And now Whitsitt, this is someone qualified to critique this paper. You know, unlike me, and certainly unlike you. I don't want to take too much time, but there's many other problems trying to equate electrostatics with gravity. And I've talked about this in some videos, and I'll certainly put my whole playlist down below. But now this chart here is from the book
No, she's
Gravitation
still got it on Lindsay speed.
by Misner, Thorne, and Wheeler, and it's one of the standard textbooks.
Oh yeah, I tell you, it was a long video. It was like half an hour, so and
Fair enough.
it means
I'll
I
leave it
can.
on.
It means I can pretend that I'm understanding half of what he says because he gets through it really quick.
Yeah. When Whitsitt was asked by PhD Tony to name 10 smart people smarter than he was, he could only name 2, and the 2 people he picked were Ken Wheeler and Bob Nodell.
Yeah, that's
What?
That's,
Yeah.
Ken Wheeler. I haven't listened to him for a long time, but I think I only got through about 3 or 4 videos, and I thought, no, I'm never listening to him again. He was absolutely rubbish. And
So,
Bob.
so he's smarter than all the scientists that gone born, including Einstein, is he? Okay, alrighty.
Ken Wheeler is, yeah. I heard that on Toon. I like Toon's response that yes, he does see why Whitsitt looks up to Ken Wheeler, but that's because Ken Wheeler is an idiot. Whitsitt looks up to him.
Yeah, Ken Wheeler's not a scientist.
Idiot,
Yes.
that's not using enough words. I'd call him an
Yeah.
abject moron.
Oh yeah. I think it was Ken Wheeler was the one who said he's the only one who knows how a radiometer works with the spinning. Well, that's what I call them, radiometers. The little spinning physics toy with black and white paddles in a vacuum. I looked it up and I thought, surely they know how.
Isn't he? Isn't he the guy that bangs on about and stuff?
They
like
call
that?
him
What else?
magnetic
Yeah.
Fester because he
Yeah, that's
looks
right,
like Uncle Fester from the what's the show
The Addams Family. Yeah.
the
The Addams Family. That's the one. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah,
enough,
he
yeah.
sticks the light bulb in his mouth and can light it up. Yeah, that's Uncle Fester. Let's finish. We'll finish this one off.
Bob
Well,
Nodell. God, that's even worse though.
Yeah, what's Bob even done? You know, why would you even put him up there? It's like, how's he?
Well, he proved the globe. He proved rotation. Anyway, thanks, Bob.
Well, he proved what everyone already knew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, proved what we already knew. Yeah. Thanks, Bob, and welcome to the globe.
Oh dear. Paris Hilton and Krusty the Clown says no look.
And they talk about these fundamental differences between gravitation and electromagnetism. Because of all these challenges I'm showing you, this is why it's so hard to unify and to find a theory of quantum gravity that unifies all the forces. And it's still a mystery. We don't know. So all these proposed unification theories, and Mace's is probably one of the weakest. I mean, string theory is probably still the best candidate. You know, loop quantum gravity is a good candidate. So those two theories that have so much theoretical publications and backings, compared to Mace's, who's hardly anybody's referencing his study, it's just laughable. Now, and one of my favorites, I just want to mention, this is kind of reiterating what I did in some of my earlier videos, but just to kind of put the nail in the coffin on electrostatic versions of gravity. If you get, like, say, a Series 81 RF shielded enclosure, which is like about one of the best Faraday rooms or cages you can make, it 100% blocks all electrostatics. Any electrometer, like this one I showed here, is one of the industry standards for sensitive electrometers. You're going to see zero, if you have just an electrostatics on the inside and outside, there's going to be zero transference of electrostatics. You can't, so it perfectly shields electrostatics, and it almost perfectly shields electromagnetic waves. The point is that if electrostatics was due to gravity in some way, you would be levitating inside of one of these cages because it would shield out this electrostatic source of gravity.
Hey Paul, you could tell that you need one of those cages for the ducks. Tell them you need that for your lab. Just tell them, I need a new cage for a lab. How about one of these? I wonder what one of them costs. Anyway.
Gravity. And this is written by the recently late George Nadiak, who has some really great videos debunking like Bob Nodell and some other flat earthers. And this comes from, funny enough, a whole debate with him and Gleam. And if you go to, I'll put the link below. If you go to George's video, you'll see in the comments this big debate. And Gleam, and George has a PhD in electronics. He was friends with Walter Lewin. He was considered one of the smartest people in the country when it comes to electronics, and he certainly taught classes on this as well. And it's just laughable. He's like, Gleam is like Witsit. They think they're so smart, and they debate these people that are so much smarter than they are in their subject, and it's just laughable, absolutely laughable. So what is George? So George says, so if the Earth's gravitational field was electrical in nature as a static field, you could in principle and in practice be able to block it out and shield yourself from it in a Faraday cage. And guess what? We cannot stop gravitational fields with a Faraday cage, so such cannot be electrical in nature. So as such cannot be electrical in nature or form. You would be able to make yourself weightless inside a Faraday cage if gravity was an electrical phenomenon. And again, we can get the best gravimeters, and we can see that the gravitational force is not shielded even inside these enclosures. This debunks every single electric universe-based model of gravity. Again, how can it not? I mean, if it's electrostatics, then again, we'd be weightless inside. And so again, just to kind of conclude really quickly, because Witsit's bringing up this whole electrostatic thing again with me, and I debunked it so thoroughly, but kind of just to summarize my debunk, you can see that with the paper, Witsit did not want to talk about incoherent dielectric acceleration. He just didn't. So here's the funny thing. Even if somehow that paper was correct and that somehow gravity was electrical in nature, Coulomb's law is a 1 over r squared spherically symmetric law. You would still run into the potato radius problem where everything is going to crush into a sphere because a spherical object with a spherically symmetric force has, the gravitational potential energy is out of balance or homeostasis when it's a sphere. So you don't have any forces pushing. So if it's not a sphere, there's all these forces that are pulling it into becoming a sphere. You just can't get around that. So even if these electric models of gravity were somehow true, and I pointed this out in my debunk of those 6 electric universe papers Gleam and Witsit shared after the first debate, same problem. Even if it was electrical, it doesn't help the flat Earth model. I mean, electric gravity theories are bad enough. So the flat Earth version of it makes it all even worse, because now they're adding all this baggage of, having to somehow ignore this problem. And they talk about, like Witsit talked about the 2 Gaussian surfaces, 100 volts per meter, and that creates a downward bias, and that's, and density and buoyancy somehow take care of the rest. And again, it's just an arrow with no magnitude. It's just ridiculous. They can't even explain it. And this 9.8 meters per second, they just say is agreed upon average, but it's not. It's a measured number, and it varies across the planet, and it varies by elevation. And our model predicts all these numbers perfectly. I mean, I won't get into it because I've talked about this before, but it's so easy to debunk this incoherent dielectric acceleration, because gravity, we know, even with lightning anomalies, which are many decimal places out, the gravity only varies by 0.7%, 9.76 to 9.83. It doesn't anywhere on the surface of the Earth go above or below those numbers. It's always in that range. However, our electric fields on planet Earth measurably vary by over 10,000%. So incoherent dielectric acceleration can't work. It's just, so again, this is taking the electric gravity and it's adding all this extra baggage that makes it even worse. And again, the worst part of it is the lightning strikes, because the electric field reverses around a lightning strike. Not only reverses, so if it's a downward arrow, the downward arrow is now going up. And not only that, but it's a hundred. And again, the gravity is only varying by 0.7%. It's just smooth across the entire planet. I mean, electric field's varying wildly. I mean, 8.6 million lightning strikes a day. Holy cow. I mean, so this, I don't know how people can believe this nonsense. And not only that, it varies by altitude much more than gravity does. And then you have the Carnegie curve, well known that the electric fields vary by the time of day and season. 15%. Again, gravity's only varying by 0.7%. So in conclusion, Witsit just likes people to think he is smart. He wants to always be right. He cherry picks all these different, they just do Google searching. Like Jaren's the same thing. They don't understand science. What they're really good at is scouring the internet, doing detective work, trying to find these anomalies, trying to find research studies that contradict our model. Even if they're fringe studies, even if they're published in predatory journals, even if they're done by scientists that don't have very good credentials, it doesn't matter. They try to drop those citations as if it's as a slam dunk, like we've debunked you. And it's just the most laughable thing. And I think we can also conclude that FLIRF citations always contradict FLIRF claims, no exceptions. Although there is one citation that does check out with Witsit here. And I will, thanks. I'll leave you with that. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Glad to be back for at least a little while. And please leave some comments. Like this video. Let me know what you think.
Yes, I always liked that. I first saw that on one of those, can't think of the name of the channel. American watches where they go over people being first order audits, what do they call them? First Amendment auditors, etc. I'm just trying to think of the name of the channel. It's a bit fun. And
Second Amendment auditors, I think.
Whatever it is, yeah. And this is the guy that usually, pulls apart the police and the people going through and where they're going wrong. And he showed this video of Witsit and he says, yeah, this guy's an idiot. He's in the wrong. They're clearly telling him what to do, where he should be, and he's just ignoring him. What were you going to say, Blue?
Oh, nah, I didn't know I had the mic open.
Oh, okay. That's all right. They're always the best conversations, because then you say very interesting stuff.
Well, you get Second Amendment auditors, basically the ones that go around testing the police's reaction to carrying a firearm. But then you get, I think they just call them police auditors. So they kind of,
auditors, yeah.
push. Yeah, they just order how they react. The police react to almost anything.
Well, yeah.
Like
it's not only police, it's just
like
generally.
photographing a police station or something like that. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Whether it's the Fourth Amendment,
They're all,
which amendment.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Amendment auditors, I suppose you might say them.
Yeah. And I do find them interesting to watch. No, the good ones, not the bad. There are bad ones out there that are trying to get a lawsuit happening. Audit the Audit, that's the name of where I first saw that Witsit one on. And his is to watch all the auditors. And he usually comes down on the side of the auditors, but on this one, no. It was like, no.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, people don't realise that, police officers the world over, they're all human beings, right? If you're gonna have an interact with them and you're gonna act like an arsehole, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna treat you like an arsehole, And if you're belligerent or if you're aggressive or anything like that, you're gonna get arrested. And if you're really freaking rude and complete arsehole, they're gonna find every excuse to. Find an excuse to arrest you. They're just human beings like everybody else. We get pissed off.
Oh yeah, but that's where if you watch enough of them, you realise there's different auditors out there. There's ones that are doing nothing more than just being there, and the police abuse their power, and they're the ones that you pick up on. And there are the others.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, yeah,
there are the others
in every walk,
who are actually trying to.
In every walk of life, though. People abuse their powers, don't they? In every walk of life, and the police don't need to be an exception to that. Of course they do. But they are, they're a minority. Most police officers are there because they're professional people and they want to do the job, and they can act professionally. But at the end of the day, act like an arsehole, you're going to be treated like one. So even if a police officer's wrong, if you get pulled over or whatever, just politely. Explain your position, but then that's it. Don't act like an arsehole.
Yes. Did you see? I'll just put it up on the screen. Apparently Samsung's been caught faking supposedly, I only picked this up, I don't know if you heard about it, on their camera, if you take a picture of the moon, it replaces the image with AI of the moon and not the actual image of the moon. So
the telescopes, isn't it? NASA are placing the images inside your telescope.
Well, apparently they actually are doing this, and this is why I was looking into it. So,
all right, okay. I haven't heard about that. No, The Verge.
No, I haven't watched this one yet, but on let me pull it up on Reddit. This is where I first came across it, unfortunately. And being that it was on Globe Skepticism, so I said,
yeah,
no,
Reddit,
can't be, Reddit and Globe Skepticism. Come on, the internet's running a bit slow today. Where are you? There. Come on, catch up. You guys can see that, can't you, right there? Yeah, okay. Should be sharing in the bottom there. Where did I come across it? I'm sure it's in here somewhere.
I like the word term. You're a flat earther, basically. I haven't met a true globe skeptic yet that isn't a flat earther. Not one.
Nah, that's right.
A few weeks ago, Samsung admitted that they faked pictures of the moon using
It's fun. So I'll play this first because this is what
AI. So someone decided to test it out to see if it was true. They found a picture of a regular white circle and placed it on the other side of their house. They then zoomed in as much as they could to trick the phone into thinking it was a picture of the moon. The phone camera then replaced that white circle with a picture of the moon.
Apparently.
Okay.
Very bad one, but
it's just it's pretty. Yeah, it's not very good, is it?
So I looked into it, and I haven't watched this, but I thought maybe we'll play this and see what they say.
I think at the end of the day, I
weeks
think it's
ago,
probably just like
Samsung
an
admitted
app
that they
that you
faked
can
pictures
install
of
on
the-
your phone that does it. Obviously,
Yeah, they're doing something.
Because most of the cameras on the
moon
phones are
using
really not
AI.
very good
So
for taking
someone
any kind of
decided to test it
astrophotography,
out.
including the moon. I mean, they're not very good usually, unless you're using a telescope.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to put up.
And they're just a bit of fun. That's all it is.
So I found this one. This is one. Yeah. pretty
There
sure.
is a tremendous amount of misinformation being posted about how Samsung is faking their moon photos. But are they really fake? Here's the truth with the math to prove it, explained by an engineer who actually understands it and isn't just taking guesses. So a quick background on me. I'm Eric from Techisode TV. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, and I worked as a hardware engineer for 12 years. While that doesn't automatically qualify me to talk about image processing, it does help me get a better understanding of what's going on, and I do have some experience with image processing using convolution kernels back in college, and you'll see why that's important in a minute. So the short version of this faking images issue is that a Reddit user took a picture of the moon, downscaled it considerably, blurred that image, then took a picture of that image with their Samsung phone and got a very detailed picture of the moon as a result. Because of this, Samsung's being accused by many people of either faking their moon photos by just replacing them with other images of the moon, or Samsung's artificial intelligence is simply cheating and creating detail out of nothing based on other images of the moon. Now here's where things get complicated, and we need to dive deeper into two things. First, how do we define the word real when referring to photos? That question will make sense in a minute. And second, we need to know exactly how Samsung is improving the moon photos and if they're applying the same type of enhancements to all photos taken with the 100 times zoom, not just the moon photos. Before I get into this, I want to make it clear that what I'm about to say is not a defense of Samsung, but it's important to discuss so that the next part of this video makes sense. So a large part of this issue comes down to how we define the word real. For example, if I take a picture of the moon with my iPhone 14 Pro Max, it'll look something like this. Just a white blob and you really can't tell that it's the moon. This is the real image captured by the phone, but it's not a real representation of what I saw with my eyes, nor does it accurately represent the image in my memory. And isn't that why we take photos and videos in the first place? To better capture memories so we can reflect back on them later? But there's still an issue here, and it's a matter of how the images are improved. You see, if Samsung just recognized a blurry moon in a photo, then found a better image online, and replaced your image with the image that they found online, this would not be an accurate representation of what you saw. It may be pretty close, but it would still be a different picture of the moon taken on a different day from a different place in the world. And most importantly, Samsung would have no right to boast about their moon photography. Fortunately, that's not the case. Let me explain. Samsung has an entire article written up about how they enhance moon photos using artificial intelligence, or AI for short. According to the article, the first thing they do is take at least 10 pictures and use image processing to remove noise and combine the most detailed portions of every image. The image is further enhanced with artificial intelligence, which has been trained to recognize the moon in every phase.
Sounds like image stacking, which is what you would do if you're doing astrophotography, or just trying to get the right name. Yeah.
To oversimplify things, this basically allows your phone to act like a person opening up Adobe Photoshop and using its tools to extract as much detail as possible out of your photo. Except the difference is that instead of a person doing this for you, it's artificial intelligence. But is that really enough to turn this Reddit image into this moon photo? Actually, yeah. And I believe it has to do with the fact that the Reddit user blurred the moon photo using a Gaussian blur. Now this is incredibly important because a Gaussian blur is literally the exact opposite of what Samsung is doing with their convolution neural network. Think of it like having a bunch of numbers that represent the individual pixels of an image. A Gaussian blur is kind of like taking each one of those pixels and adding or subtracting a certain number from them. This will change the image enough to blur it, but it will still resemble the original image. Gaussian blur is a bit more involved than this, but this is the basic concept. What Samsung is doing is the literal opposite. After analyzing likely hundreds of thousands of images of the moon, Samsung's artificial intelligence knows that an image with a specific amount of blur in specific places will likely be substantially improved by doing the opposite math of a Gaussian blur. But this is further complicated because a Gaussian blur could use almost any set of numbers to modify the original image. Not only that, but the Reddit user reduced the image size to just 170 by 170 pixels, removing a tremendous amount of detail before they applied the Gaussian blur. So, Samsung's artificial intelligence has to take a best guess and likely won't be a perfect match. So in our example, if this was the Gaussian blur math that the Reddit user used, this could be Samsung's equation to try to reverse it. Notice that it's not perfect because, again, it's a best guess. When this math is done, you'll get a significantly improved image. And if you overlay the Reddit user's original 170 by 170 pixel photo with
I just gotta ask, is the moon the right way up or not?
Samsung's moon photo, you'll see that they are very closely matched. You'll also notice two other things. Samsung's photo has a brownish tint to it, and it completely lost detail around the outside edge of the moon. The loss of edge information is a direct result of how Samsung's equation works. It's something called a convolution neural
Looks
network,
like it's upside
and it would
down to
take
me.
a solid 10+ minute video for me to explain that. So instead, I'll just link to a convolution video in the description if you want to get a better understanding of why the edge information is lost. As for the brown tint, this could be an artifact of convolution or Samsung's scene optimizer adjusting the colors. But if I remove the tint, you can really see just how close Samsung was
definitely
to
upside
perfectly
down.
reversing the Gaussian blur. Now, what about the other picture where there is a perfectly gray patch placed on the moon and an identical patch placed off the moon? Why did the patch that was on the moon get modified, but not the patch that was off the moon? That's another. Remember our equation? A gray patch would be like changing a group of numbers to all ones. Samsung is still going to run their best guess math on the entire moon. This will result in the gray pixels getting changed slightly towards the texture of the moon, but you'll still mostly end up with the gray box, or whatever other image you overlaid there. And the reason why the gray box outside the moon wasn't changed is because Samsung's artificial intelligence knows where the edges of the moon are and only applies the math to the moon part of the photo. This is also why Samsung's AI won't make any changes to partial moons that don't look like the traditional shape of a moon. This includes the fake half moon from the Reddit post, as well as a moon that's obscured by clouds. Samsung's AI can't figure out which parts are a blurred part of the moon and which parts are just clouds. If you're finding this information useful, sharing the video would be greatly appreciated because I'm pretty late to the party on this topic, but I wanted to make sure I had all the facts and fully understood them before posting. So no one's going to see this video unless you share it. And if you do share this video, let me know you shared it by dropping a moon emoji in the comments below. Now, it's great that Samsung isn't just image swapping, and let me know in the comments below if this level of AI image enhancements is acceptable to you, but there's one last big potential issue. Samsung touts their moon photos as an example of how powerful their cameras are, but if that only applies to moon photos, Samsung's misleading people to think that they can get excellent 100x zoom photos of anything. But can you? Let's find out. I picked a few items ranging from common to obscure to really put the 100x zoom to work. Now, there are a few things going on when you take a 100x zoom photo.
Yes, you get the gist.
Yeah.
It's still the
Sam.
I still had the moon the wrong way round though. See, the one on the right was correct. The one on the was the wrong way around.
Yeah, right, whatever.
Well, I've never seen the moon that way up.
Yours is upside down, clearly.
I'm just saying, when I look at the moon, it's the other way.
It's all right, just take a photograph and flip it up the right way around. There you go. The correct way.
Yes. You know what we haven't done today? How many have we got?
What?
I haven't done Lindsay just yet.
Well, while you're doing that, obviously, I take it you heard about the announcement of the 4 astronauts from Artemis 2.
Yes, I did hear that.
Yeah. A couple of them, no big surprises.
No, well, the lady, I can't think of her name. Which they're touting because she's got a lot of records. I figured that, yes, she was a fair
Christina
chance
Koch.
to be yeah, well, yeah.
Christina Koch. Yeah, she was the favourite woman. They're always going to have a woman on there, and she was the favourite. She's got quite a lot of experience. She's four flights and to the ISS already.
And I wondered if she would probably still be around if they actually get to the moon. That she might be one of the actual people to go to the moon too. So we'll see who's
Possibly,
around.
yeah.
It's still a fair way
I
off,
think there's going to be at least, out of the 4, there's going to be. I think there's going to be at least one that's going to be on Artemis 3.
Yes.
At least one. I'm not quite
You'd
sure
think
there's
so.
going to be yet. Yeah. I don't think it'll be. Well, Jeremy Hansen. It won't be him because he's a Canadian. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be him. Could be Gregory Wiseman. I mean, he's the commander. Could be. Don't think it'll be Victor Glover. He's the first black astronaut that's going to at least reach the moon. Could be Christina Koch. Don't know. Not sure. We'll see. But
Could be
yeah, Victor Glover and Wiseman, they were both the 2 top favourites, and so no big surprises there.
Yes.
Yeah, Victor Glover. I mean, he's, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's just a token black astronaut. I mean, he's very, very capable, pretty experienced. Well, he was on the first Crew one, the Dragon spacecraft. He was the first operational, not the test one. He was on that, which ended up as 2 ISS expeditions. So he's got a good bit of experience, and he proved himself. He's exceptional during that time. So he's more than just a token black astronaut. He's very experienced. So I don't think he will probably be the first black African American on the moon, because I think they'll probably end up choosing somebody else. Maybe I'm not, but can't be sure.
Do you reckon the Chinese will get there first? I don't know if there's unofficial.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. As long as NASA and SpaceX push forward the lander, I don't think they will. But if they delay by too much, then possibly.
Yes, I just wondered if I don't think the Chinese are gonna. They tend to be a slow and steady type of development people, so they're not going to race ahead just for the honours.
Well, their space program is kind of accelerating, really. To be perfectly honest with you, it's rapidly catching up with the US. Rapidly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What I meant by that is that they're not going to be taking they're going to be they're not going to take unnecessarily wild risks just to make a claim that to get there first. They're going to make sure everything's going to work, because they're a bit more about making sure things work and proving their worth and that way, rather than we've got things
in terms
that
of
work.
propaganda, they
pay us to put your stuff in space.
Yeah, in terms of propaganda, they couldn't afford to lose an astronaut. They really couldn't. It'll be disastrous for them. Not so much in terms of international propaganda, but among their own people. I don't think the people would take it very well at all if they'd lost an astronaut or astronauts. It would be pretty bad for them.
Yeah. Well, I spin the board for you.
Come again.
We'll see what you get in the Lindsay bingo.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give you a spin.
I was looking then.
So you get metaphysics. So when I play the Lindsay video,
metaphysics.
If he mentions metaphysics, you get a point.
That's a handy little gadget to use, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little freebie I found online there. Where's where they still put you? Some metaphysics. You still there, Paul? We'll see what you get. Before you go.
I cannot choose myself.
No. I'll let you have a free spin if you don't like what you get. How's that?
What?
I want
you get a free spin and I didn't.
I want Arc Horizon.
You're arcing for an arc. Okay, we'll see. Do you want another spin, Matt? Do you not like metaphysics?
I don't mind. I really don't know. It's all the same derp to me.
Oh yeah.
Now you get cold fusion.
I'd take another spin on that. If it was me, I could pull another spin. He's hoping for Arc of Horizon. No, he's ended up with Tropical Gap. I don't know.
Tropical Gap.
Tropical Gap's okay. Yeah,
Well, he's bound to mention Tropical Gap at some point.
I think so. Sorry, just writing this on so I can remember, because I did this last week and then I forgot who got what. You still there, Blue? Let's do Blue. It's either there or he's not. He's going to get one regardless. Okay, we'll do Blue. If he's not there, then he doesn't get the free spin. Ah! You can see
Arc of the Horizon. I got metaphysics. I don't remember him mentioning metaphysics.
Oh no, he often mentions metaphysics. That's what he calls.
Does he? Oh.
That's what he calls.
Always says Arc of the Horizon, though. Always.
Almost always. I didn't win last.
The other one I'd bank on is Nobel Prize.
Oh yeah,
Or
I was
black
trying to
hole.
work out how to put that in.
Or black
'cause
holes. Another one.
Was saying that everyone was like that. All these scientists knew nothing. I was trying to work out how to put that in because that's something he almost always says. And he's the only one who knows this.
I mean, you can be guaranteed he's going to mention black holes, isn't he? I mean, yeah, or vortex.
Depending on what he's covering. Anyway, Blue's got Arc of the Horizon, so I'll do my spin. What have I got left? Hang on, we'll get rid of that.
I bet you get a black hole.
Black hole. Vortex, there you go.
Oh, pretty yeah, that's a good one. Vortex, that's a good
Really
one.
good one.
That's a good
Okay. That's pretty fun. I don't know, because this one's titled "When You Discover Your Masters Have Made It All Up." Okay, so none of us make anything yet. Let's put it on Lindsay speed.
Oh, while you're doing that, I'm going to quickly go and grab a cup of tea. I'm going to do a farm
Okay.
right now.
Sure.
Be right back.
A site on YouTube that will explain. Welcome everybody, welcome to the Tomb of Illumination, the only site on YouTube that will explain the entire physics system of our realm, the actual physics, the actual working physics of our Earth.
But nothing you do works.
Nowhere else you won't find it anywhere else. You get the
And
truth
there's no
here.
physics in it.
Other guys are starting to
That's right.
use a bit of it. But you think of my videos only getting 600 views in 3 or 4 days, you know how evil the system is.
Ooh,
don't want-
must be really evil because I'm only getting like 40 views.
Want people to understand it. You're all trapped in a system that's controlling your minds when you think you live on a spinning ball. It's the dumbest thing, and when you finally wake up, you'll realise, you'll ask yourself, how could you have been so dumb? So anyway, I'm just going to show something today, expand a little bit further on stuff I've talked about before. It's about the central vortex of creation. It's hidden in the north, the centre Arctic. Now, what you need to realise, which is quite buzzy, is this is the female entity, and that's the male entity, the Milky Way that comes into it. And where it meets, at this point here, this is going down the gurgler, there's all the action. Just like on a ring magnet. Look at the converging point in the centre of the ring magnet. Well, it's the same sort of thing here, because you can, what we know in the physical world is this is magnetically locked. This is held in place, the central vortex, to the magnetic pressure of Earth. We're under pressure, it's like the flux of the Earth. And that's the centre. It's what they call the Corinth, centre of the ring magnet, you could say. The centre of the flux. And that's where that central vortex resides, up above the Arctic centre that we cannot get into. So the central Arctic vortex, top side of the hyperboloid, because the other half goes down into the Earth, it's part of the Earth system. The Earth is the negative, this is the positive side of it. That's another story too.
So is there a second sun?
We know the
on the
atmosphere
other
in our
side?
realm is positive, Earth is negative. What's in there is another dual system, which is this and this. Okay? This comes up out of the Earth. What's coming up into here is the female entity. Read this first. The central Arctic vortex, top side of the hyperboloid, is the feminine aspect of creation. It is open at the top for the entry of the male aspect of creation. This is the Milky Way.
Sorry, guys.
All the stars
Put
in
it
the
out there.
Milky Way are male entities representing males on Earth, while the central vortex houses all the females on Earth. All the animals, everything, female, all in here. And the male comes over into it. That's where the sun is created, right on this horizon of the gurgler. Look at here, this goes down.
Do you
So
think
the
that
plane is
he
around
thinks
here.
the
It's the sun's on the inside track.
storks bring all the babies
it
out
could be
from the
right out around
vortex?
here.
To...
Ecliptic plane probably is. I'd say it would be. The ecliptic plane is right there. The Milky Way not only rolls around the rim of the vortex 360 degrees over 24 hours, but the sun, the lotus flower on the stem, papyrus stem, whoops, spelled that wrong, where's the I, where's the Y? Papyrus stem, that could be an A too, eh? Papyrus stem of the Milky Way creeps ahead a little over time to move through the constellations. Constellations are on the Milky Way. This is forever moving slowly down the gurgler. Slowly moving that way through the constellations. See, this slowly it's rolling around a rim every day of the vortex. That's your 24-hour day, because the sun's tucked into the side of it, where we see it out here. You've got to realise this is creation. This isn't what we're seeing. That sun in creation, we do not see it there. We see an image. You don't see real plasma. The image is out in the tropics, out in our realm. This is hidden in the Arctic centre. That's where creation is. So you've got to imagine it's tucked on the side of the straw, say, the stem, and it rolls, and that's the rolling, 15 degrees rolling, as it goes 15 degrees around the rim. Well, no, that's not 15 degrees. It rolls around the rim 15 degrees, around the circle here. The circle. It's not elliptical, it's ellipse if you look at the sun on its horizon. That's another story. You've got this and you go right back into there, but there are plenty of videos on that. It's the black hole there.
I can still never work out how he thinks that we see the light.
shape right in there.
Doesn't make
But anyway, centre Arctic where creation is, the black hole and the sun. Okay? Yeah, so it moves around the hole, this hole here. There's the hole there. 15 degrees per hour. So there's your 24-hour day over 360 degrees, right? But slowly over time, the sun is rolling, creeping forward inside the Milky Way. The sun is the fastest celestial body in the whole system. That's why it's creeping slightly ahead, even inside the Milky Way stars. And that's the changing constellations. Okay? Ever so slowly.
Anybody won yet?
The sun stays there, but the Milky Way slowly gets fed into the female.
I've got about 15 vortexes already.
Slightly rolling, or the sun's
What's that?
slightly
You got what?
moving around.
I've got quite a few vortexes
They understand the stem. The two entities
already.
that the ancient Egyptians have left us.
Bouncy.
The stem of the Milky Way and the lotus flower. There's two flowers, isn't there? They've mentioned the two plants. Why is that? Well, because of the system here. The lotus flower coming up out of the primordial waters. Look, you consider this is the primordial deep, which it is. Everything goes down through there, down through the gurgler. There's the gurgler. And at the same time, it runs parallel with man's awakening. The moon, how the moon moves the water of the water and the fluid in his brain. And his pineal gland rises up, or the water floods away from it, leaves the pineal gland high and dry. So that's your lotus flower coming out. This is your rebirth, coming into the light. Your second birth.
I don't know what it's got to do with the lotus flower.
Your second birth and your first death.
The pineal.
But you're not really dying.
The pineal gland,
so
pineal gland. A lotus pineal gland, yeah.
Physically, spiritually, you are not dying. You awaken. This is how you awake the soul. You've stimulated the kundalini, the coiled snake down the bottom here. You've brought it to life, and it rises up. Rises up. That's the cross. Gets the snake head to the top of the cross. That's what the whole religious story is about. Jesus dying on the cross. But the cross is the crossing.
How many things has he mixed together in the last 2 minutes?
Now there's a lot of people online. They're telling you, they make up they know
all
what they're
kinds
talking
of different.
About. They don't. They think the crossing is equinox.
Christianity, Buddhism.
There's no crossing there. They think
Greek
the sun is crossing the
Roman
equinox. Is the
mythology.
cross. No, the actual cross.
I mean, Timbo, this is what rambling
of the
idiots
sun.
do.
Yeah,
That's what represents man's awakening, the divine creation story,
True, yeah.
the 6th of September. 17 days before the equinox. I haven't figured out why it's 17 days before. I haven't spent too much time on it actually, but there's got to be a divine reason there, and I'm going to find it one day. I'll put my mind to it, I'll find it alright. So the Milky Way comes from the tropics.
How's he going to find? I thought it was already written.
Well, we see the sun, because that's the recycling system of Earth.
Yeah, one of these days he's going to make something
Going
up.
through the Earth and going this way. The two forces of creation meet. This is where you could say gravity is created, because basically creation. But gravity is just basically, well it is, because we're from the black hole. Earth is from the black hole. So if you can imagine Earth, the image of Earth has come out of there, the place of rest. That's why Earth is fixed and stationary. All the actions around its horizon. So the black hole has created Earth because that's perfect. It's perfect.
But Lindsay, Earth is the size. If that's that little dot is the sun, Earth is the size of twice the vortex, 4 times the arc of the vortex. So, yeah.
Perfection. That's what created life and created Earth. But the planets out on the ecliptic plane are stages, progressive stages to perfection. So they are black holes in their own right as well, in their own frequency or pressure gradient, whatever you want, chemical, whatever. They are not quite there.
So
you
Pluto
start
is
back at
perfection.
Saturn, and you notice they're changing as they get towards the black hole, become more solid, like Saturn's, like it with a big ring around it. Then you've got Jupiter with a bit of detail on it.
Does that mean when they made
They're
Pluto
all
not a
condensing.
planet, we could no longer be perfect?
That's the way I see it. It's going that way,
Supposedly.
not coming out. Is it coming out? It's something to think about. Like Saturn may have been here at one stage, but I don't see it that way. I see it as coming this. Everything gets drawn in this way anyway in the black hole creation. In our realm, it's expanding out, but in this situation, it goes in. So they're all coming in, being drawn into the black hole of creation. So see, if you take this as the tropical gap, south north, it's a 180 degree arc. It's a meridian. It's the tropical gap. Now science has been fooled because we know that the coil, which is
There you go, tropical gap.
which is the southern hemisphere, is the coil, the northern hemisphere. That's the North Pole, South Pole, many South Poles though, they're all around here, anywhere. That's the strong force.
Does anybody have a tropical gap?
The energy is strongest at the pole.
Tropical gap.
The magnetic field is weakest here. Because it's weakest, these physicists, these scientists that are running your world have failed to detect the fact that the field does not pass across
metaphysical
this tropical zone.
God.
The magnetic field passes down at this point. Only one wise man on earth figured this one out. Trust me.
That was him.
That's the way it goes. And then it passes through the earth, then back up this way. Down there, through the earth, back up this way. You know, go check it out. Science knows magnetic fields are strongest here, weak here. But they do not pass here, just like the winds do not pass the tropics, just like the ocean currents do not pass the tropics. Obviously there's water there, but the cycles of currents do not. They're not. Even in meteorology, they know the wind goes like this at these points. Ask the pilot what happens when he flies across the tropics here. Dead centre in the, you might get a bit of an updraft here, but the turbulence is
must be
around 20,
still.
25
It must be completely
degrees.
still over the tropics.
I've experienced this when I'm travelling from New Zealand to Samoa. Samoa's 13 degrees south. So I'm crossing this zone. You're forever going through that turbulent zone. Pilots know that.
So it's
Meteorology
almost
knows
like
this.
you're saying it's like an
Physics knows it's
instantaneous
weak up
thing.
here, but
Oh,
they're not
across the
clever enough
tropics
to
there.
notice.
That took about 5 seconds. Yeah.
You trust the tropics, but it's always turbulent there, and it's not. It's just no.
Yeah.
Or detected the fact that the field is being drawn back down here because this is the place of divergence. It's the dielectric system in our earthly system. But to understand that, you need to go right back to creation and realise creation has come from the dielectric. So Earth is from the dielectrics. That's why we're not falling over and being stuck to a bit of magnetite or something stupid like that. Because we've come from the dielectric, but we've come from creation, so we have to have our own dielectric zone, and that's the tropical gap.
Oop, you got another
All
tropical
life
gap.
began around
Yeah,
the
come on, tropical
Then we
gap.
moved out. They like you to think in history that we came from the north. No, it's because everything in creation came out of the north. Creation comes from the north. Continents, everything spiral out. Everything spirals out. All life comes out from the centre.
But how does it get to the Earth?
You've got to realise that is where we first appeared. You know, there's warm, good temperatures, all the fruit and veggies here. Didn't need clothing, if you bare skin. Life was created like that.
But it wasn't created
As
in
soon as
the
that sun
tropical
was
gap.
ignited, to hit the right frequency, bingo. Life appeared. Well, maybe it took 7 days.
Had life just like that.
Just life. Well, life probably probably originated in
expands out from
Africa,
the north.
but not in the tropics.
We never had an ice age. We never had one earthly full ice age. The system, Earth cannot work in that bullshit story. There has to be the temperature variance between the central northern warm area and
Doesn't
the two Arctic
Doesn't fit,
cold
so
areas.
it can't happen.
For convergence, the whole system to work, the magnetic field to flow, which is in the wind, tides, everything. There'd be no life on Earth if it was all ice. There would have been no life whatsoever. Winds wouldn't have moved. Nothing would have happened.
Obviously, he doesn't know what an ice age is. What do you mean? Okay.
So it's ridiculous. If they're detecting there was an ice age somewhere, it's because everything is spiralled out from the centre ice area. So what's now out here would have been in there. Or what was here might have spiralled back towards the tropics. Or the whole thing spiralled right out. Imagine it's only the northern hemisphere here. I haven't drawn the tropical cap in the southern hemisphere. There's only one image of the northern hemisphere. So it spirals out to here and subduction
Catching up, Paul. You're catching up.
occurring in here somewhere. Maybe it's some other subduction coming from the south going this way. Or it just all expands south right out to the Antarctic. And they know the Antarctic, beneath the Antarctic was once the tropical zone. So tropics moved right out
How
here.
does that work in your system then?
There you go, everybody. When are they going to inform you that I'm right and they're wrong? No, they can't, because it destroys the whole bullshit story of the globe. All your physics, all your science, everything has to be rewritten. The whole school curriculum, just about, when it comes to science. There you have it, guys. You've got to share this stuff, get it out to people, try and get the human race to wake up, because the powers that be who control all these media sites, they're not going to let it get out. No way. They want to control your minds. Okay? Thanks for watching. Give the likes up and share like crazy.
Sorry, Matt. You missed out on metaphysics.
No, I don't think I scored anything.
Welcome,
did I?
everybody. Welcome to the Tomb of Illumination. The only...
No, I think you missed out. Paul got... I had 5 tropical gaps. I don't know if Paul was counting, but...
5, yeah. Well, that goes without saying. You
Yeah. Trouble is, I had 7 vortexes, so I win.
I scored nothing.
You scored nothing. That's okay. Blue... I don't think Blue got anything either. There was no Arc of Horizon today.
What was Blues? I can't remember. What was
Arc of Horizon.
Arc of Horizon. That's right.
Yeah, which I thought was a good one. That was usually a pretty big one, but he's gone off that one.
As long as he's done and dusted and it's over, we're all winners.
As long as I can stop the channel and close it down, you think we're good. What have we got? I'll put on some Everett. I need something a little bit light in between there. We've got Everett. There we go. Put some of those. I can close it down.
Whenever you see a boat disappear over the horizon, you see the bottom go out first, and then it works its way up.
No shit, Sherlock!
And then when you zoom in with a high-power telescope or like a high-power camera or something, that boat comes right back into view, and it didn't go over a curve. It's still literally going as straight as an arrow.
It doesn't. I just got that.
I haven't never seen anybody actually do that, or even with the sun either.
So,
when it's like
if that's not how
over the horizon.
How many people claim it? And it's like, and then they say, "Oh, there's thousands of videos." Where? And it's always
where?
It's always, oh yeah, we can't see it, and then we zoom in, we can see it. It's like that's not what you claimed.
Do it then. Show us.
Okay. You've zoomed in. Watch the
do your
boat
own
go over
research.
the horizon.
Yeah, do your own research. Yeah, go and look. Go and look. There's loads of videos.
Then.
Go and do your own research. Yeah, I already have. There's none.
There's none. Yeah.
What am I seeing whenever it disappears from the bottom up?
There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
If you see the sun setting and you can see it disappear from the bottom up, you know, people will say, oh, that's it going over the curve. Well, if you zoom in, it didn't go over any curve.
I'd kind of like to see that.
Yeah.
The firmament.
Yeah, never
it's,
seen it.
It's made of 100% oxygen.
Whatever.
I don't really care. I'm just gonna sit this one out.
When it melts into just air, because like I said, it's 100% oxygen.
Oh, it's liquid oxygen. Okay.
How do you melt oxygen?
How is it kept at the right temperature in order to do that?
Has anyone pointed out to him that air is not 100% oxygen?
Yeah, no. Well, there's a whole few things wrong with that statement. I was trying to work out, first of all, if it's 100% oxygen, what? And it's because obviously it has to be a solid to be able to melt. So, yeah, that's a few things.
Well, he's inferring that it's liquid oxygen, isn't he?
But then it wouldn't melt because he just said it had to melt.
Well,
so.
it's the waters above, though. Don't forget, the water's supposed to be waters above the firmament.
Yeah.
If he's saying it's pure oxygen, then it's got to be liquid oxygen.
Well, that's the logical thing, but I'm just saying he said it melts, but if it's liquid oxygen, yeah. As I said, there's a lot wrong with that statement.
Exactly. Yeah. That worked very well, does it?
To come up with this flat Earth fuck thing, can't.
It's like ice, but way colder. You cannot even touch it for a second. You'll get like freeze burn instantly.
A freeze burn.
My goodness, that's the most badass thing I've ever heard.
It's really, really tough, but it's super flexible.
That kid instantly patch, bond, seal, and repair.
When the rocket, that's why you see it when it goes straight up. Eventually, it has to curve, because you can't hit it straight on. Because you're exactly right, it would probably blow the rocket up every single time.
There's something new on the New York social scene. It's fun, relatively benign, and costs about as much as a soda pop at the local drugstore. Here's Brian Fantana on why everyone who is someone is lining up to smoke crack.
So they hit it at an angle. Since the firmament is tough and flexible, it like scrapes the firmament for like as long as it can.
You're boring me to death, and I am already dead. You're boring me back to death.
And then it ends up in the ocean somewhere. So like 99% of the rockets that they shoot up, all are heading towards the Bermuda Triangle.
Pack it in there.
99%. There you go.
Yeah, that includes all the ones that launched from Russia, from
China,
yeah,
India.
from Guyana, China. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Rick, do you want any crack? Sorry, I'm afraid of fire.
And so, dude, there's no astronauts in those rockets, man. They're literally sending up nobody.
Whatever it takes to make you feel like the Earth is
Yeah,
really
most
flat,
of them
that's
are
what
not.
you need to do.
Oh, correct.
And they're showing you and everyone a gigantic movie production and telling you it's real.
Very good.
I've researched this so much, it's like not even funny.
Yeah, research by watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
This
Facebook memes.
This is the research. When they say research. The two things that annoy me. Yeah, I've researched this. Or, yeah, I was a Globie for 28 years. I don't know. Did you watch that? Whoops, sorry, stop that. Did you watch that one from today that Toon had on? What was the name? She was off the planet, that one.
It's bonkers. Oh, she was on another level, wasn't she? Oh my god.
Yeah.
What did you say about the vacuum chamber that isolates gravity? Vacuum chambers isolate gravity.
Yeah, to isolate gravity.
I spat I was yeah, I was drinking a Lilt at the time, and at least spat it out. What? What did you just say?
Yeah, she was one of these ones. Yeah, I was a Globie for 28 years, but didn't know that there's a difference between magnetism and gravity, and thought magnetism is what.
And she kept on talking about accelerated force. I mean, what the hell does that mean?
Because all force has got an acceleration. Yeah, it was. And then the three natures of three definitions of gravity, and it's like, you've introduced this second one that I don't know.
And on the odd occasion, she kept going on these like weird word salad rants. Did you notice that? She'd just go off into this tangent, like a complete word salad. Like, what on earth was that paragraph about? What did she just say? And like, what?
Well, she gets stuck on these ideas.
Hilarious.
Okay, we can't you heat up metal, so therefore you can't have magnetism. We're sort of saying, but there's other ways of forming magnetism than just a magnet. Yes. Yes, the one that got me, it was the.
I never watched the whole
we
thing.
can't. We can't have.
With,
we can't have southern-facing shadows. The shadows can't point south. So you could see in the chat all the Aussies saying, "But I'm looking out the window, and it's because it's about 1 o'clock here, about midday. All our shadows are facing south." She had no concept that
exactly.
in the southern hemisphere they face. Oh no, they can't be. And she was one of those ones that, if it didn't match her idea, no, that it's impossible. Presenting her on the screen, like she say, no, you couldn't have more than a double rainbow, and showing you a 3 or 4 rainbow, presenting on the screen. No, that's impossible. But we're showing you one. No, not possible. Oh, she was off. By the way, here's the first trivia question for the night. What temperature does oxygen become solid? See if you can get close.
I'll estimate about minus 218 degrees Celsius.
It's estimate. Yes, 218 degrees. 218.79 degrees centigrade. That's
minus 280.
Minus. And Celsius was the word, not centigrade.
Yeah.
200, Celsius. So, yes. And that was the funny thing about that guy was saying. It was solid, but it was flexible. Yes.
So this girl last night, I never got watching the rest of it. Did she ever get round to actually saying what she wanted from some British Glovers?
No,
yes.
I didn't watch all of it either, Matt.
I did. What she wanted was, and I could probably find a bit. I'll just pull it up if I can.
Don't worry about it. No,
no. It's in the realm of what I'm looking into, so that's all right. What was her name? Marissa.
Okay.
What's her name?
What did they been?
So
I know that.
So she was showing this. Let's see if I can scratch it in, because there's a few ones she had. Obviously couldn't take, which was not unusual.
See, I don't mind doing it as long as it makes her look stupid and doesn't make me look stupid. I don't mind.
Well, no, it's around here.
As long as I have the ability to do what she's asking.
Here we are. I'll just go back a little bit. So,
what makes things fall down at 9.8 meters per second squared?
Yeah, she doesn't believe in
Dude, we
gravity.
don't get that. We don't get that. Like when you go in and you actually try to do the math.
Does this not fall at 9.8 meters per second squared?
No. Do you realize how fast 9.8 meters per second squared is?
Yeah, it's this fast.
It's 32 feet a second.
That's the acceleration. So after 1 second, that's how fast it's moving. And after 2 seconds, it's even faster.
But you don't even get that for 1 second.
Yeah, of course you don't, because it's accelerating from 0 to 9 meters or 9.8 meters per second during the first second.
Well, what experiment did they do? Were they using stopwatches?
Yeah, right here like this. Yeah, you can do it yourself. Pretty easy.
Well, we do the math, and we don't get.
What high school kid has never done an experiment to try and measure acceleration?
When did you notice what she said? When we do the math, we don't get 9.8 per meter second.
Yeah, she doesn't show any.
What math is that then?
She doesn't show any math though, does she?
No, of course she doesn't. When we do the math, what math is that?
And for reference, they
go ahead. Can I send it to you later? Because I don't have that available
Certainly, sure.
Right at this moment. But I want to get through the rest of this model.
Well, let's get to it then.
Okay, so let me screen share this right here. Okay, so you.
All right, I see it. Yeah.
Okay, so where the sound enters. Like when you break a bar magnet in half, you end up with one with north and south pole, and then the other one with the north and south pole.
Yeah.
Like Okay.
Yeah.
So when the sound comes into this medium, it has to split. There's a degree of separation. Okay. So when that bubble expands, like the bar magnet has to create its equal as this. So in the center, you have that electromagnetic horseshoe, and then on each side you have a positive or a negative. Where it comes together, it splits into negative and positive. So you have a negative on one side, and then you have the positive.
Inside that thing there's a positive and negative?
Inside the bubble.
Okay.
Inside this bubble, when it expands, it automatically has to create its equal and opposite. So you have a negative, and then you have a positive that it creates. That's the anode that we're talking about. Then you have the positive, and it creates the negative. I'm saying that Polaris is under that magnetic pole. So
under?
Yes.
But we look up to see it though, not down. How is it under if we look up?
That's you understand what I mean. I'm saying that Polaris is right above this magnetic field. And that magnetic field is located above the Eye of Africa. Okay. So once this comes in,
but Polaris isn't above the Eye of Africa.
Well, you don't know that. You haven't found your poles. You can't tell me where your poles are.
I know where Polaris is. I can see it from here at night, and I know it's due north of me.
Well, what's underneath it?
I have no idea.
Right, that's the point. You say that your pole is underneath that.
I think there's an ocean there. I mean, there's water.
Well, if there's an ocean and water there, then we should be able to tell some effect.
Some what?
Some effects, like if you go in your boat around it, then your compass or whatever, there should be some effects.
Yeah, there are. Compasses point towards it.
But I'm suggesting that the sun, moon, and stars rotate like the tangent.
I'll just put it there because it goes on for a bit. She has a complete wrong idea that the Earth rotates around the magnetic poles rather than the celestial poles. So that
vectors of a bar magnet. And if you would hush, and I can finish my model, then you might understand that. Just play with your Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, all right.
Just play with your Rubik's Cube, and let me explain my model.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, so inside this bubble, you have a positive, or you have an anode, a cathode, and an electromagnetic center. So at the top, the only binary star in the sky is the star we call Sirius, or dog star. So flat earthers, hear me please. Polaris cannot be in the middle because it is not a binary star. Polaris is over the negative magnetic field. So you need to locate your poles. Anyway, so then when we go into the bubble, I'm going to go around this inner membrane, okay? So it seems to reason that if the positive magnetic field is touching positive water, then it's not going to create a spark, okay? If you go around the circle a little bit and you come to the magnetic field, skipping over the center,
create a spark? What for?
And positive water would create a spark. So then I'm going to go all the way around the circle, this inner circle. And down at the bottom, we call those waters brine pools. And the reason that I say these waters are charged is because electric eels go into the brine and then come out charged. That is a video you can look up yourself. Anyway, so then
oh man,
I'm going to go all the way back around.
What the hell is she talking about?
And go back to the center. The reason that I say that,
I
think so. Yeah.
Well, there's so many things wrong with it. First of all, electric eels can live in fresh water, not just salt water. But they're only charged if they go into brine. Wouldn't all the fish get charged by just the electric eels?
I didn't know you had to charge up your eels.
Yeah.
You get your eel charger. Oh dear.
I'm gonna check on Amazon see if I can find an eel charger.
Well, obviously you get your brine pill.
Oh Lord.
Man, that would have been great to come out with one of those.
Binary
on April
star
1st,
Yeah.
The all
binary
charger.
star in the center is not inside of the bubble is because they don't show up in time lapses.
I wonder if she
So they
realizes
must
that
be outside
not
of the
all eels
bubble
are electric.
and rotating around
Some are
the
mechanical,
outside of
clockwork.
the bubble.
Some take diesel.
Are you there?
Yeah, I think my network dropped out for a second.
Just for a second.
So I'm back. I can see you again and hear
I think
you again.
this is where she's
So
getting close to where she wanted some assistance. So.
I missed maybe
you
the
there?
last. Yeah, I missed maybe the last minute.
Yeah, so coming up.
All right. So, yeah. Somehow
Let's
it's
spit
my
up just a
network
little.
dropped out. Can you
Oh, okay.
can you hear me?
So where did I stop?
It was you were talking about professor. That professor was on screen there, and you were talking about the bubble.
Okay. So the bubble or the stars that are outside of this bubble don't show up in time lapses, so they rotate around the center like this. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we go inside of the bubble
She looks like she's been
and we
watching
see
Lindsay.
the stars rotate clockwise and counterclockwise. Okay, so I'm gonna play this video real quick.
Okay.
And this is where I'm going to tell you I need some help. Okay, so let me load it.
So here you go. You'll be able to help.
Interested in. I'll see.
Girl, you need a lot of help.
Okay, so
Yeah.
You could say that.
okay, we're going to watch this real quick, and I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, this guy says he did the star trials, and at the end he's got. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, and at the end he's got what he did. Okay, so I'm gonna walk we're gonna watch this, but I want to walk you through it. Like, can I do the audio on this?
If it's not copyrighted music, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it sounds like just kind of staticky stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's just okay. Can I play this on 1.5? It's kind of.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Okay, so at this first part right here, you can tell there's a pole star, right? He has other videos on his thing, so I've assumed that he is in Africa. He's got other videos on his webpage or on his YouTube page that I assume this is Africa. So then there's this second one, right?
I just like how you can see Toon's look on his face.
Why?
How do you see this is in Africa?
For that, it looks like it might be a little bit too high in the sky
rotating
for any part of Africa
anti-clockwise.
to
It
be
wouldn't be
seen in the
Africa.
center of northern.
Exactly.
This guy did. I mean, I'm just taking it from this guy.
Okay.
You're taking your
North
stuff from your books.
Africa,
I'm taking
come on.
the
Yeah.
North Africa?
video from this. Okay, so you see where the pole is right here?
Yes.
And he just
Quite,
moved over.
it'd be quite low on the horizon, wouldn't it? You
Yeah,
know?
he panned the camera. Yeah.
No, he
Yeah,
moved the
please look
location.
like
No,
that.
exactly.
I don't know if you caught that, Matt, but this one's obviously in a different position because you're looking at a different part of the sky. So
Yeah.
it can't be that he just panned over a little bit. He has to be in a different place.
So he was at one location. He moved location.
So which way? So he's still pointing north, though, right?
I don't know which way he's pointing. I'm using the.
I recognize that. That's pointing north.
Okay, so let's just do this. If I can get this to move any faster. Okay, so then he's got this one right here.
Yeah, it's in the same spot. And he's just
Where the stars move in straight lines.
Yep.
And the moon is there on the equator. So the only place you should see the stars move like this is at the equator, correct?
The celestial equator is where you see the lines going straight.
Okay.
But that's not where you need to be. You don't need to be located at the celestial equator.
Well,
but that's where you will see the lines going straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we've got the other one going the opposite direction. So we see stars move. They go equal out counterclockwise and clockwise,
Yes.
and then they move in straight lines in the middle.
Yes. Yeah.
No pole on this
Well,
one.
there's a pole. It's the center of rotation. Is what's called the south celestial pole, is the center of rotation. There's no star exactly at either north or south celestial
Right.
pole.
So in my model, when a positive magnetic field hits positive water, there's not going to be a hole. It doesn't create a star. Or positive and positive doesn't create a star.
Okay.
Okay. So now we see this. His next thing is his credits. Okay. So he's got to get his credits here. He says his first location is
Guernsey.
the UK.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. I need somebody from that location to verify if it was the first part of the video we saw.
Yeah,
that
with
second
that-
little part.
That whatever
where
that church or something that was in the foreground.
Right. Whether it's that first location
Well,
that he
Gu-
saw, whether
Guernsey is the Channel Islands, which it is part of the UK, but it's it's an UK. It's an island. I don't live in Guernsey or Jersey.
Yeah. Well, you're closer to it than I am now. So you could go out.
Oh yeah, but quite a lot closer than you.
You could go out and take some stars pellets. And of course, there's so much information for you to know exactly where it's taken from by that silhouette.
I
over
don't.
the top of a
Well,
church or
Alan's
something.
probably better at it. Alan could probably do it. He's got.
We'll say Alan has
He's
to help
done
you out.
astrophotography. I haven't.
We'll send Alan Alan's contact details. Will we?
Yeah. I'm not going to Guernsey just for that. Sorry.
there's that
Well,
little
unless she
bit in
pays
between,
for it, I'll have a
whether
nice
it's the
holiday
one
there.
where it moves in
Guernsey's
straight
nice.
lines.
I don't think she's paying for it.
No, don't suppose.
Or, well, I don't think it's the other one, but I need to know which one of those three is he calling location one to verify it. Because I say that the sun, moon, and stars rotate like the tangent vectors of a bar magnet, not a pole and axis. So,
Okay. Now, for reference, Guernsey is about 49 to 50 degrees north latitude. So I live in Minnesota. I live in Minnesota at 45 degrees north latitude. So, 240 miles north.
Go out and check your stars. Like,
Yeah,
do they move in straight lines?
Well, if I look north, there's a north center of rotation, and if I look south, there's a south. I can't see the south center of rotation. I can just see the curve, and then in the middle, there's a straight. They go in straight lines.
Okay.
I have
I'm not sure.
where it is. Oh, it's over there. I have a P1000 over there that I got some
I got one
star
too.
trails with. Yeah.
I got one too.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
so you from your location, you can get straight.
Yeah,
star
She doesn't
trails.
want to do it herself.
Mine move in straight lines, and the only way that would be possible on a globe is if they were near the equator, right? Well,
No.
the U.S., the
No.
UK are not
No,
anywhere near
you
the
can-
equator.
You can always see them as long as you're not right at the poles. Generally, yeah. North or South Pole. So 5 degrees south of the North Pole, you'd see the horizontal moving stars rather low on the horizon. But yeah, you'd want to move farther north. Or
I'm going to skip forward to this bit. This
of
is her
how-
explaining
of how
this.
It works inside of a water droplet.
Right,
Well, she
but
thinks-
you can't make a rainbow in the house with just water. You need something reflective.
Yeah, but I'm asking, like, how does the reflection that's not near the rainbow make you see the rainbow? Just because it's in the room, does it like convince the light to look different, or does it actually have to bounce off of the reflective surface somehow?
Yeah, that's how rainbows are produced. That's why we call it refraction and reflection.
What
It has
does-
to
Yeah. You probably, all the way through, she's insistent that you cannot make a rainbow inside. It's impossible.
Change the subject slightly. I need to correct myself on something. Guernsey is not strictly part of the UK, not legally speaking. It's
Right.
I think it's classed as a dependency, crown dependency, I believe. It's got economic ties with the UK, and the people in Guernsey have got British nationality, but they're self-governing entirely, so they're kind of independent. If you know what I mean.
So do you get charged with treason for suggesting they're part of the UK?
I don't know. A few hundred years ago, I might have done, yeah. It existed then. Yeah. They're not legally part of the UK, so I have to correct myself. Sorry, carry on. I just wanted to make that
You're
clear.
right.
Somebody pointed out. I'll get into trouble otherwise.
No, I'm just saying this woman, all the way through this, is insistent that you cannot have a rainbow inside the house. Can only have rainbows outside. And, you know, there's a few out there, people sort of saying, showing rainbows inside the house. If there's any reflective surface, she says, no, that's what's causing the rainbow inside the house. Not so. So you can't do anything to prove otherwise. So anyway,
Can't be as bad as that woman in the garden. Remember, that was spraying the garden hose and saying, "What are they putting in the water that's causing this rainbow?" You remember that one?
Yeah. Yes.
Not as bad as her. Sorry, carry on.
You're right. Yeah.
What does refraction mean? What does refraction mean?
It has to slow. That's why a prism is made the way that it is. It has to slow during refraction and then reflect back to you to split the light. That's how a rainbow is produced.
Yeah, but what does refraction actually mean?
It slows the light and it changes direction.
Okay, there you go. And what's the relationship called?
They have to do both. It has to produce.
Yeah, but there's a law. There's a law about it. What's that law called?
I don't care what the law's called. Here, let me show you this.
All right.
Does she remind when she's like that? She's got wide eyes. Has anybody seen the movie Misery?
Yeah.
Yeah. She kind of. Does she remind you of the woman from Misery?
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
They're just to explain where this come from, because if you haven't seen the whole lot of it, where she sort of said, "Oh, you need to be able to prove the effects if the pole is in the ocean." This is her insisting that the salt water would be spinning around the pole because she's seen this video.
Yeah. Yeah, that experiment.
Which is a fake experiment, but anyway.
So which one is the magnet?
In this experiment, we need a magnet. So this is a magnet, not a coin.
Okay.
We also need a container, where the inside wall is covered with aluminum foil.
What are these wires?
Mike knows what this is. You can see the look in his face. Yeah, he knows what's going to happen here.
The foil in the center pin will be connected to a battery. Make sure the magnet is right under the center pin. Fill the container with a strong solution of ordinary salt and water.
Watch the middle. Watch the bubbles.
Now, connect the battery. The bubbles are hydrogen and oxygen, and is a byproduct of this experiment.
That's your shooting stars.
The real effect the experiment demonstrates is that the water rotates. As you see, the water rotates clockwise. See the description of the movie for an explanation of why this happens.
Okay, so let's stop sharing that.
It's just hydrolysis.
Right, but you should have some evidence. Are you there?
Yeah.
Why am I looking at me? Okay, there. Okay. So you should have some evidence. If your magnetic field is in the middle of the ocean, you should have some evidence. There should be some evidence. How can you tell where your poles are located? That's what I'm trying to do.
But
I'm trying to locate
but you
my
demonstrated, but that was hydrolysis.
No, I'm telling you that if your pole, your magnetic field, is in the middle of salt water, then you should have some evidence.
But Marissa, you showed hydrolysis. You didn't show a magnetic field doing something. You showed hydrolysis. You showed electricity passing through water, disassociating the bond between the hydrogen and the oxygen.
So you're saying that the experiment is not correct? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the experiment is fine, but you didn't show what happens to a magnetic field. You showed what happens when you pass electrical current through water.
It's underneath. The magnetic is underneath.
I understand that the magnet was put under there to trick the observer into thinking that was related.
Well, then recreate the experiment without the magnetism.
That would be on you, not me.
Well, I'm saying that you should have some evidence where your poles are located.
And we do.
If you
Yes,
believe
we do. But
then what is the evidence that it's in the middle of the ocean? Because I thought it was on land and snow. The
I don't
North
know
Pole.
why you thought
Well, you
that.
thought that.
It was quite a while ago. In the 70s, it was over.
Go to
over,
the
like,
celestial North Pole.
Resolute,
It's going
Canada?
to point
very far
towards north.
So what are your so
where
your
the
pole keeps moving?
magnetic
Yeah,
North
it does.
Pole
Where
is,
is it
you
located?
stupid woman. That's how we know.
It's like, because I was wrong.
No.
I thought this, so therefore you must be wrong. Yes, she's a very special case. Ah, there. Ooh, 11 o'clock. How many people have I got out there? Have a look. Got enough for a chat, for a quiz?
No, it's not 11 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. What are you talking about?
11 p.m. Just ticked over.
No, it's not. It's 2 p.m.
11 p.m. Have I got enough people for a quiz?
No.
If I put on a quiz,
It's not 11 p.m. Don't know what you're talking about.
Paul and Blue, you gonna be up for a quiz? No.
You didn't ask me.
Why does she always look like she just jumped a rabbit?
Exactly. Sure. It looks like someone smacked a couple of books together behind her.
She's a bit scared of it. Well, you got to wonder what's in that vape that she's got going.
No, I think she's got a couple of hammers underneath the desk. She's going to smash somebody's knees in like they did in Misery.
I don't know.
Definitely that.
I don't know. She's Toon said through when he didn't quite think she was as far out there as that. He said she seemed quite normal in the emails. He was a bit concerned that. Oh, where's my quiz gone? She was a bit concerned that she might have needed assistance more than usual, more than others.
She looks kind of manic there. Like, literally, she's going to go absolutely mental in any second.
Yes, going to come and get you.
Going to start smashing the room up and threatening to kill you with a hammer.
Yeah. Oh, I got to put this up. I got the effort of making these screens. I got to put it up. Now I can't find it. Where are you? Yeah, somewhere. It's run away. It's run away. Ah, doesn't matter. Ah, where's my PowerPoint one? PowerPoint. Here's my PowerPoint one. First I got to push that button. And then I got to share out to you guys. So you can see. Yeah, stop that one. Share. There you go.
Emble wants to know, can she be a Lindsay replacement?
Yes.
Well, I don't
can.
think she's got her own channel, is she? Or has she?
No, she doesn't. She only does this for herself, so she's not a YouTube person. But she's like Lindsay and Blues, that she's the only one who understands this.
Yeah.
Transition. There we go. I think we're all set. Oh, do we have enough people? How many we got? We got a few out there. Let's see. We've got. How many people we got out there at the moment? We have. Oh, a massive 6 people. Okay, we'll go. That's enough. Okay, Timbo's torture test of terror. Trivia questions. Quiz. This is. Do you know this is the 23rd quiz? I don't know how many you've done, Paul, but this is the 23rd one I've done of these. Let's put this here. I gotta keep them all. I played one at work.
Quite a few more, I'd suggest. Yeah.
Yes, I imagine so.
I mean, Paul, you used to do them twice a week, didn't you? Or was it just once a week? I can't remember.
Well, he's doing twice a week. Twice a week when I started coming to the server, the channel, whatever we want to call it.
Better get my Google open.
Okay, get your Google open. I think you can get this one. What type of lens has a thin middle and makes objects appear smaller? I think you can do that one without Google.
Oh. I don't know. Without Google, I don't know.
You don't?
I don't know
concave
about
lens.
lenses.
Concave lens, obviously. Yes.
You're not supposed to say it out loud.
You can say that loud. It's all right.
Yes, you are.
Are you? Oh, okay. I thought you're supposed to type it.
No, we do that for Paul's.
That's not called. Yeah.
So that we do it for Paul's so that you can prove you had the right answer.
It is a caved-in lens. Yes.
A caved-in lens. It is a concave lens. Yes.
Concave.
Convex lenses can make things look smaller too, Timbo.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably could if you did it the right way. I'm sure that they're good for hammering nails into. So. Okay, here you go. I didn't know this one, so I don't know if anyone will know this one. You can Google this one, Matt. What is the Hawaiian name for a yellowfin tuna?
Fish. Dinner.
Tuna sandwich. It's got 3 letters.
Come on, I want to eat you. Yeah.
Come on, I want to eat you.
Ahi. That's the answer. Ahi. There you go.
Well, I think they should change it to blues. Come on, I want to eat you.
I was close.
It sounds Hawaiian.
Yeah.
It sounds Hawaiian. It's quite descriptive. Okay. Oh, this one. Okay. Rihanna banned fans from bringing what item to a UK concert in 2008?
Oh, I heard something about. I can't remember. Rihanna
Cameras.
Fans from bringing
No.
cameras, probably.
You got to, and I'm sure you know all of Rihanna's songs, so you'll know exactly what. The blues sounds like a Rihanna fan. Do you think?
Mobile phones or something? Video cameras? I don't know.
It's the name of one of her songs.
Oh, was it? Oh, I wouldn't have a clue.
No, obviously not. Umbrellas.
Umbrellas?
Remember that song?
No.
Nope.
Umbrella.
Nope. I know nothing about Rihanna whatsoever.
Okay. Move on. You created the alien. You should get this one. Who created the alien rock superstar Ziggy Stardust? Come on. Gotta get that one.
Who created?
Yeah.
DB.
Yeah. Who's DB? Matt, who's DB? Blue, who's DB?
I can't remember. I can't remember who Ziggy Stardust was. I can't remember.
Bowie.
David Bowie.
Oh, of course, yeah. David Bowie. That's right, yeah. DB.
DB.
I thought you said DD.
David Bowie.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. Should get this. Which young girl helped drive the English from the French soil in 15th century?
Oh.
And it wasn't Rihanna.
No, it wasn't Rihanna. Oh, I could picture.
She probably would have,
but I can't remember the name of the person. Hold on.
Am I not getting people in live chat? What's going on? Surely the people are answering questions out there.
Oh God, Joan of Arc.
That's the one.
Joan of Arc.
Yes, Larry had it. I was waiting for someone to answer it there. Larry got it. Yep. Good old Joan. Okay. What flag is this? Here's a real tester.
Oh, that's. Is it one of the Caribbean?
Okay, try and Google that one.
Yeah, well, you can't really, can you? I
suppose you could type in what flag has red, yellow, and green.
Yeah, but it'd bring them all up, wouldn't it?
Well, it'll at least eliminate a few countries. see. I'm not getting anyone out there. No one's. That's Guinea. And then, what flag?
I think it's like Guyana or Guinea or
Guyana.
something like
down
that.
the
I
bottom.
can't remember.
Guyana.
Oh, it's Guyana. Oh, there it is. Guinea.
Yeah.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Down there. So.
That's Guinea. That's Guinea.
Guinea.
Not
Yep.
Guyana.
Guinea. You ready?
Yeah.
Then what's this?
Yeah. Oh.
It's Guinea when it's in trouble. Guinea from the northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere. Where's Guinea? Is it southern hemisphere?
I have no idea. I really
think
don't
it's
know.
southern hemisphere, so that's Guinea from the hemisphere. That's Mali.
Oh, I think I found it. Mali. I think I found it.
Yep.
Mali. Oh, you got it. You got it
Yeah,
already.
Mali. But they're very
I just literally just found it when you brought it up. I think.
literally just the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay. What US president coined the phrase "good to the last drop," referring to coffee?
Go on, Blue.
Go on. Got to pick a president. Who would have said
I
that?
haven't got a clue. Who was it, Blue?
I have no idea.
Oh.
Pick a president that was before.
Never heard of that. Never heard of that
Ford.
phrase at all.
No. Okay. Who?
I'm going to take a guess, a complete guess. Nixon. Oh, Theodore Roosevelt.
No. Roosevelt long before that. I was about to say, went out and shot bears and they named stuffed animals after him. What is the biggest supermarket chain? There you go. I have never heard of this supermarket chain, so I'm hoping you can get this, Blue. What is the biggest supermarket chain in the US? According to Google.
Well, it depends on your definition of supermarket.
Starts with a K.
Kmart?
No. I don't know. Maybe that's where Kmart came from, but that's what it said.
Oh, no. Walmart, is it?
Mm-mm.
No.
No? Not Walmart? I would
No.
have thought it would have been Walmart because they're always talking about
We're
Walmart.
talking about actual grocery stores.
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't know.
Walmart
We don't
is
have them
Walmart
around this part of the country.
No.
Is Walmart
Okay.
not a supermarket? I thought it was.
Well, it's that plus everything else.
Oh, was it? Got everything
Now,
in it.
do they call
No,
it?
yeah, you get a dozen eggs and a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walmart.
Do they call Walmart a big box store? I hear that. I just wondered if Walmart was what they would call a big box store. Where
In some states, you can get a gun in Walmart as well.
Yeah.
Get a dozen eggs and an AK-47.
that's the.
I don't know. What is it?
It is Kroger Co.
Who?
Never heard of
Kroger. Okay.
But yes, Kroger.
Never heard of them.
I don't
That
know.
surprises me.
Do you have any in your area?
Yeah, we do have Kroger.
Yeah, so according to that, they're the biggest. I assume it's in number or something like that. On every continent, there's a city named what? Well, there's a city with the same name. Obviously, it's not the same city.
So where is what in Australia?
Just below where?
In every continent, there is a
And just
city named
above.
what?
It's just below where and next to who?
I never heard of a city called what?
No. What is the name of the city? What city? What's the name of the city? There is a city. And there are cities all over every continent. Now, amongst all those cities, they all have names. And there is a common name that is on every continent.
Is there a Paris in Australia?
Not that I can think of.
There's a Paris in America and there's a Paris in Europe.
Yes.
Paris, Texas. Paris, France.
Oh,
Is there a Paris in Australia?
No.
Or Africa?
I don't think so.
France is not a continent, man.
I know it's not, but it's still in Europe, isn't it? Paris,
Europe
France,
is a continent.
in Europe. Yeah.
It's not Paris.
I say stupid things sometimes, Paul, but I'm not that daft.
It's not London, Larry. It's not London. I don't think there's a London in Australia that I can think of.
Or Africa. For them. I don't think there's a London in America either, or anywhere in North America.
I'm sure there's a
Oh, yeah,
London.
there is.
I'm
there?
sure there's a London in the US. Yeah.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, London, Kentucky, about 100 miles north of me.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Learn something new every day. Maybe London then. Is there a London?
Not really,
No, it's not London.
not very big, but
Oh, I don't know then.
But it is a big name like that.
Big name city.
Big name being in that it's a name of the, when you name off cities around the capitals of the world. It is one of those names.
Oh, I honestly don't
I
know.
think they may have taken a little bit
Apart
of
from
liberty
Paris.
with this.
Paris is the only one I can think of.
Well, if you were naming it big cities, you said Paris, London. What other one might you say?
New York.
New York? No. Okay. The correct answer is Rome.
Really?
I had to look up where Rome was in Australia, but it's in Queensland. But I think
Is there a Rome in America?
yeah,
American continent?
in Georgia.
Is there? Oh, right, okay. No, so the Americans literally have copied everything.
No, they change it. They
Paris,
make it better,
London,
don't
Rome.
they? They change it and make it.
Can't think of any of the original names.
They take cricket and turn it. They take rounders and turn it into baseball.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Here's another easy one. What name are the Sandwich Islands better known as?
Cheese sandwiches.
No, not cheese.
Well, not cheese sandwiches.
Not tuna either.
Name
But that's a clue.
So in summer, are they called the Toasted Sandwich Islands?
Toasted sandwich.
That'd be nice. Oh, now you're making me hungry now. Oh, I really want a toasted sandwich now.
I've just given you a big clue about tuna.
Tuna Islands? I don't know.
You even looked it up.
I did?
Yeah. So where's the name of that yellow tuna finna come from?
Can't remember. Can't remember that was the first question, wasn't it? I can't remember that far back.
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Hawaii are the Sandwich Islands.
Oh, right. Oh, dear me.
Oh, dear. Here you go, Paul. Two little ducks. What's two little ducks? Bingo.
Oh, I know what that is. I used to be a bingo caller for a very short time, so I know what it is. I'm not going to say. It's easy.
What looks like two little ducks?
Yeah.
Paul doesn't have to. Anyway.
Oh, the blip, blip, blip. Two little ducks.
Yep, Carl's got it. Oh, sorry, Larry, you had that other one too. Larry had Hawaii. 22 is the correct answer.
22, of course.
22.
Oh, the
two little ducks.
22. Two little ducks.
Two little ducks. Okay. What torturous test have I got? Who's that flag?
Oh, Iran, I think. Is it? No, it's not. Palestine, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Got that one. Okay.
It's Middle East anyway. I know that for
Yep.
sure.
It's
Palestine. There you go.
Yep. Then who's that flag?
That's an African country, but I forget which one it is.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Carl
an
was going to say
African country. I'm not sure which
Palestine,
one,
and he got bitten. Ooh, we got a
Yeah, it's an
Moldova.
African country, but I don't remember which one.
Carl thinks that might be Nile. We got Tunisia. We got anything else? Any other calls?
I think it's Tunisia. No, it's an African country. Don't know. Can't remember though.
Yeah, can't remember. The answer is Sudan, which was
Sudan. Yeah.
which we said before. Trivia. Bronze is an alloy consisting of what? 2 elements.
Go on,
Dang.
Bob.
Dang is not one of them, Carl. I know that's from the last question. I thought misread that initially and thought he was saying dung, but oh, Globeth Perth. G'day, Globeth Perth.
Well, I think it's copper and something else, isn't it? Bronze.
Correct.
I can't remember what the other
Copper?
element is.
Try 10.
Try
Tin, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Copper and tin. That's how you make bronze. It's good to know.
I've just googled it. Yeah, tin, but arsenic, phosphorus, aluminium, and manganese, and silicon can also be used to produce different properties in the material.
I think it's the moon.
The moon. The moon.
Largest
I think it's the satellite in the solar system.
Oh.
The largest
Are we talking
satellite
about
in the solar system.
the planets being satellites? If we're talking about that, then it's Jupiter.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying planets or satellites. Just to clarify.
Satellites of planets.
No, it's
satellites that are not.
Wasn't it one of Jupiter's moons? Isn't it? Oh God. Trying to think.
Europa.
We've got a Europa.
Ganymede, maybe.
We've got a Europa.
Europa or Ganymede, one or the other.
Pick one.
Either Europa or Ganymede, I think.
Well, Paul went Europa.
It's
You're
one of
gonna
those
go
two.
Ganymede.
I'll go at Ganymede. As soon as he says Europa, I'll say Ganymede.
Ganymede.
Hey!
Ganymede is correct. It is bigger than Europa.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
There you go. Tin from Cornwall was traded a couple of thousand years ago to the Mediterranean. And so, how did they get the Mediterranean over to Cornwall? Obviously, it was didn't go very well. That's why the Mediterranean's still where it is. Ganymede.
Talking about Europa, we got the Europa Clipper coming soon in the next year or two. Is it
okay.
next year? Can't remember now. Yeah.
Good to hear.
Going to take the closest look at Ganymede. Europa ever.
The Clipper's going to go to Ganymede. That's why they call it Europa.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a fairly easy one too. Which of the Earth layers has the greatest volume?
Mantle.
The mantle. Yes, that one's an easy one.
Yeah.
What is the largest known land animal in existence, not extinct?
Heffalump.
You think an effalump?
Oh, depends what you mean by largest to like tallest, or by mass, or what.
Well, according to Google, it's the elephant, but in reality, it's a beached whale. But
beached. Heffalump. There you go. Heffalump. I was right.
Oh. I don't know if you saw that answer in the chat out there.
Beached whales, a bit like me in a bath.
No, yeah. My ex-wife was one of the answers.
Who said that? Who said that in the chat? That'd be quite an accurate description of my ex-wife as well.
Which of Newton's laws state that every action there is an equal and opposite reaction?
I can't remember what that law's called.
Oh, Carl's got it.
I think it's the third law, isn't it? Third law of
Carl's. Judy's
Sorry,
got
Paul?
the third as well.
4 minus 1.
Minus 1. Third law. Yeah.
Yep. Third law
Newton's
of motion.
third law of motion. That's it.
Yes, I'll take third, but yeah, third law of motion. Yes. Sunripe and beach beluga is a small, never forgotten. I can't say I've ever smelt that, Larry. Okay. Well, okay. What are we up to? What flag is that one? That should be an easy one.
Is that New Zealand?
That is New Zealand. Then what flag is that one?
Oh. That's put me off.
Well, that's...
Don't know.
That's the point.
Never seen that before.
No point if I don't make it a bit tricky. Vanuatu. No, it is not Vanuatu.
No, I don't know.
We've got a
I
Christmas
can't remember seeing
Island.
that one before.
No, it's not Christmas Island.
It was a British colony at one point then.
Either that or they just like the Union Jack. But who would put the Union Jack unless they had to?
Yeah, you think, I can't think what country would ever do that. No.
It could be an American one because it's the Stars and Stripes and the Star. So, but no, it's not.
Yeah, but it's not Stars and Stripes though, isn't it? It's not.
It's got stars. It's got stripes. They're just not in the right order.
Yeah.
Well, at least they got the Union Jack up the right way. At least that's something.
Yeah. It's annoying when it's upside down. Isn't
Often
it?
don't. Often don't. Even when sometimes you find them on the internet the wrong way around, upside down.
Not Hawaii, not Fiji. It is an island though. Named after the person who discovered it. There's a big clue. Named after the person who discovered it. That's a big clue. Island discovered that has a Union Jack flag. So, yay! Very expert. Got it. Cook Island.
Oh, Cook Islands. All right, okay.
Yeah. Cook Islands flag. I don't know why it has that many stars. Anyway. How many elements are there in a periodic table?
Go on, Paul.
Every damn one of them.
Yeah, it depends what you mean, right? Whether you mean the naturally occurring elements or all of the known elements.
I don't know.
That's
you've got to
difficult.
guess.
I mean, if you're talking about the naturally occurring ones, it's only 92. But if you include the man-made ones like plutonium and stuff like that, there's more.
Well,
I
Carl
mean, they're up
says
to bloody 118 or something now, aren't they?
Yeah, Carl says 245. But the answer I had was 118. So there you go.
So it includes the man-made ones then.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. The original clue was what was the smallest country in the world, which is too easy. So, what is the second smallest country in the world?
Well, Vatican is the smallest, isn't it? So
yeah. Where's
where's it they hold?
It's sweaty.
Sorry, but
it's sweaty. It's sweaty.
Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein. Not Liechtenstein.
No, where do they hold? Where do they hold the Grand Prix?
Monaco.
Melbourne.
Monaco. I'm going to go with Monaco.
Monaco. We've got a Monaco. It is Monaco.
Yay! There you go.
There you go. You got that one right.
What?
It's a small country.
Yep. It's a country on its own. Yep. It's in Italy, but it's a country on its own.
It's up. Yeah, it's not. It's its own country. Blue's doubting me. He's looking up YouTube as we speak. Looking up. Well, no, that's Flat Earth Research. Looks up YouTube.
Too many.
Google. Okay, how many? I have to take an estimate on this. Closest person wins. Many.
82.
82. Oh, we've got an 82. Is anyone going to go under or going to go over 82?
What did you say, Paul?
Well, Carl's gone 200. Oh, sorry, no.
Too many.
It's gone 200.
Yeah, that's what I said.
As many as needs. No, they don't actually need as many as they have. Yes, that's right, Carl. That's why I said in their lifetime. So how many do you think they have in their lifetime?
Well, so far I'm the closest because nobody else has come up with a number.
No. 200.
I win.
We've got
I win. I win.
We've got a 200 out in the
Oh, really?
chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So is anyone brave enough to go above 200 or below 200?
Depends how long it lives, Larry says. Right enough. True.
Well, let's say an average.
That's true.
Oh, yay.
Over its natural lifetime, we
Well,
should
Carl's
say.
gone to 160. The correct answer is 30,000.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, really. 35,000 says Carl.
That sounds a bit extreme.
Well, they just keep growing and falling out, so they have a rotating thing. Because they come out of the cartilage, forms new.
Oh, so I was
they push
close-ish.
forward and then they fall out. So yes, 30,000 is the approximate.
I'm pretty sure I said 82,000. I didn't say 82. I said 82,000.
82.
So I was
Yes.
closer.
So the closest, technically,
No,
was,
I don't.
Was a VBE at 200. Okay. Diabetes develops as a result of which organ? No problem with which organ?
Oh, I know the answer to this. I'm going to keep quiet.
Yes, it was approximate.
I know the answer too, but I'm not going to keep quiet.
Go on then. Yeah.
Pancreas. That's
I'm
correct.
going to agree with Paul.
Yeah. Pancreas. There we go. The one that makes insulin, says Carl.
Yeah.
Pancreas. Okay. What is the rarest blood type?
O negative, I think.
O negative. We've got an O negative.
Or just O.
What glow birth is it?
No,
No
I think
blood
it's O
would
negative,
be the
I think.
rarest blood type.
Yeah, that would be pretty rare, wouldn't it?
Well, I was going to
No
say
blood at all.
blue.
No, I'm going to go with
Green-
AB. Nick.
AB positive, says Carl. AN negative, says Larry. What did you say, Paul? AB? or
AB
just-
Nick.
AB neg. And the winner is AB neg.
Oh, there you go. Nice one. Well done, Paul.
There you go. So, oh, I do have another one. What do I have? Oh, no, I don't. That's the same as the first one. I must have copied it twice. Okay. What flag is this? It's not a country. It's a flag of something.
I have seen it somewhere. Again, I think it's an African country, but I have
It's
no
an-
idea where.
No, it's not a country. It's an international flag of something. The
Oh,
national
is it?
flag.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Don't know. No idea.
It is the National Library of the USA, says Carl. No, it's not the National Library.
Obviously, those
definitely can't be
spikes, the
flat.
number of those spikes is significant.
Can't be a flat Earth map because they know which way is up and down. So.
Well, I mean, something tells me that it's some sort of like an African coalition or something,
Well,
or some
no.
description.
It is a coalition, but not African.
Not African.
A little
Okay.
bit broader than that.
Never seen European.
Bigger than that.
Global. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is the Commonwealth of Nations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't know that, did you? I didn't know that.
No, I did not. Should know that, but I don't.
And for the last one, what flag is this one?
Never seen that before in my life. I'm usually quite good at flags, but struggling with these today.
You know, I saw this flag and then realised it's actually a very descriptive flag.
So something that's not Iceland, I don't think.
No, it's not Iceland.
No.
You're on the right track. Wrong hemisphere.
Okay. Well, I'm in the right hemisphere. Well, that's useful.
No, wrong hemisphere.
Narrows it down then, does it? Wrong hemisphere. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Some sort of South American country. No, don't know.
Yay, Carl got it.
What is it?
The flag of Antarctica. It
Oh,
has
okay.
Antarctica. I didn't write that. It was
Okay.
Antarctica. I didn't change the name. No, that's not good.
Oh,
idea.
well, I
Somebody
did
do
not
to
know
me.
that.
Yeah. I don't know. I obviously didn't change the name. There you go. There's the quiz for tonight.
There you go. Thanks, Timbo.
No problem.
That was fun.
What am I doing at there? Let's switch off the quiz. And put that up there for a sec. What have we got on here? My list of stuff. We can have some fun and watch some people doing stuff.
Do you know my blood is actually one of the most useful blood types?
I
Be
find
positive.
my blood's very useful in my body.
No, but B positive apparently is handy for treating people with sickle cell disorder. There you go.
Sickle cell disorder.
No. Yeah, B positive. My blood type.
That works.
I could sell my blood.
You could sell it.
I could sell it. Yeah, to treat people with sickle cell.
Okay.
Could make a
I
fortune.
don't know if we get to sell that blood.
Sell it by the gallon. Start collecting them buckets.
I can sell mine easier. I'm over negative.
All right.
Look, yo, some idiot drove through the
I
whole
don't know if we,
goddamn house.
I don't know if we can sell our blood over in
No.
Australia.
That's a universal donor.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it is. Yeah.
Anybody can take my blood type.
That's true. Yeah, universal. Yeah.
Let's sound there for a second.
Oh my gosh, this is. What are we doing here?
Yep. Cars getting watched down.
Very bad idea. Going in reverse.
What do you think you're doing? It's illegal dumping rubbish. What do you think you're doing?
It's fine. Hey, stop. The camera. The camera. Give me the camera.
Didn't like being filmed.
Got a blank screen called to me.
Oh dear. Oh, okay.
In here, yeah. It's just blank. It's just black.
Just blank. Oh, sorry about that. That's why I'm laughing at these by myself.
Right.
Actually, so they're laughing. Anyone enjoying that? I won't even get it out in
Heard some audio and that's it.
So, you didn't see any of it. I was wondering why I was the only one enjoying the people being full of themselves. Sorry, let's transfer in so you can see inside. I forgot that I had changed my share. And change it back again. This one. Sharing my own private joke and I didn't even realise it. Oh dear. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Go to the beginning then.
There we go. Let's see.
Oh dear. Into the house. Oh.
The edge. Actually, I'm pretty lucky I only clicked the edge of the house. There it works. Oh. Got them. Why?
Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Oh, this is going to be expensive.
Oh, still going.
Look, yo, some idiot drove through the whole goddamn house. Like, how the they do this?
Went straight through.
Through the house.
What did he?
What did he
Yeah,
think
I've
I was
seen
going to
that
do?
one. What did he think was going to happen? Yeah, exactly. What,
It was like,
why?
you've got no, you've got it on clippers and you've got it on
Very
no.
bad idea.
What else was going to happen?
What? Why is he? What does he think reversing through is going to help? What now?
Oh, this one's been around for a bit.
Oh yeah, I've seen this one.
It's illegal dumping rubbish. What do you think you're doing?
It's fine. Hey, stop. The camera. The camera. Give me your camera. The camera.
Just a fall.
Sinking.
Run.
Get off.
Get off. Oh,
he just goes down with it. Oh, the phone. On the phone. On the phone. just lost. You know, $30,000 car, but don't worry about the phone. It's okay. Save the phone. Oh dear! Ow, that must hurt.
Ouch! But
drone.
it's illegal, but you did it anyway. Yeah. Who needs a spare tire?
I'll just use a log. Get off my car.
That would be awkward. It's on my car.
Yeah, what's he up to?
Well, the police are coming put tape on, but you can see him coming up, so you can see who put the tape on. It's a bear over there. Ooh, there's a very expensive mistake. Stay right there.
Is this the right house? Are we in the right house?
Run away! Not the right house. Not our house.
Wrong house. Oh,
insurance scam attempt. Same guy. Drive away.
Not good.
I like this one.
Connected to the handle, bro. It fell off. If she puts that in there and doesn't realize it, I'm gonna lose my mind. No way.
It's got no hose on it. She's still going to use it.
It must be wireless. Must be wireless.
It's not working. Why isn't it working?
Maybe that's why it's got the out of order sign on it.
No way, bro. Are you serious? She's messing with it like she doesn't even know what's going on. Damn, that's so...
I can agree with him. Okay. Ooh, let's see that. Let's. So the other guy is telling this guy to stand in front of the camera and have his face in there.
Yeah. Ooh. Whoops.
Uh-oh. Car in the background.
Boom.
Run away, run away. Karma.
What the hell?
That's what happens when you smack grass. Just say no.
Ooh.
Let's just say it wasn't as deep as she thought.
No.
Uh-oh.
Dumbass.
Okay, someone's not going to be happy with that.
Here I am pushing Alyssa's car. Some damn problem by myself. Who needs a guy when you have me? So 3 hours later of trying to get Alyssa's car to work. And it's clear to say that I had no clue what I was doing. And I guess we do need men.
Uh-oh.
Because the whole inside of my car exploded.
What did she do there? She must have crossed the polarity. Headed up to the jumper cables to do that. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
No.
One accident into another one.
Oh, ouch. Felt that one. Oh.
Bang.
Oh, at least I missed the bus. This isn't good.
No, this is gonna
See
be
what's going to
bad.
happen here? Yeah.
Okay, let her rip. Hit it.
Oh, it's one of those Citroen 2 CVs. Who's running?
So obviously must be very drunk.
Oh, this is stupid. Oh, this is so f***ing stupid.
He's a postie. Don't think that letterbox is quite down. Anyway.
What was that?
It just blew up.
I am there. She stuck her false eyelash on her.
She did it with super glue though.
She super glued it. Yeah. Yeah. Dumbass.
O problema é seu, porque cola super bônus, você sabe que não sai. O que eu vou fazer? Você vai ficar assim agora.
Is this your dog?
Yes, it's my dog.
Okay. Captain's requesting that you get off the flag, so you'll need to take your dog with you.
And I want my money back before I get off this plane.
No, you're going to get off first, and then you can discuss getting a refund.
This is the most awful place. This is the worst
Hey, I can
airplane
talk to
I
you
have
later,
ever
okay?
been in. And
Hey, listen, you're holding up this whole plane.
I don't
need
care.
you-
You're holding me up.
Hey, you're going to go to jail, or you're
I'm not going to go to jail, mister. You're looking to the wrong lady. Don't you take my dog, you louse.
Stand up.
My dog.
You can't just take a dog on an airplane. You can't
No.
do that. Ooh. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Oh, hello. It's getting worse.
Oh,
There you go.
there we go. Some of those are right, some are not. What have we got? 2 minutes. What do I got to finish off with? Dave Keegan. Do we watch much Dave Keegan?
Yeah, I never got around to watching his latest one. I was going to do that today, but yeah.
Let's see what we got. Dave Keegan.
On July 20th, 1969, shortly after Neil Armstrong and...
Can I ask one favour that you take it off Lindsay speed? Because otherwise it's a bit...
Yeah, I'm happy to, because it's
Yeah.
oh, it's 6 minutes. That's fine. That'll take us up. Good timing.
On July 20th, 1969, shortly after Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin had gone down in history as the first humans on the moon, they spoke with US President Richard Nixon from the White House in a live broadcast that was watched around the world. Yet conspiracy theorists have claimed 3 arguments with this that they say proves that the moon landings never took place. The first is that whilst Nixon is in the middle of the phone call with the Apollo 11 astronauts, we can see a photograph on the wall behind him of the Earth taken from the moon. And people have questioned how is it that Nixon could have such a photograph in the White House if the first humans are only just on the moon at that moment. Well, whilst Apollo 11 was the first mission to land humans on the moon's surface, it was not the first mission to send humans around the moon. Apollos 8 and 10 had already sent crews into lunar orbit, and the photo on the wall in the Oval Office is the famous Earthrise photo that was in fact taken during Apollo 8's mission in December 1968, a full 8 months before Nixon's phone call. Now, there are many books around which cover the whole space race in great detail, such as Shoot for the Moon by James Donovan, but we don't always have time to read books, do we?
I was going to say, how many floats do you come across who seem to think there was only one trip to the moon? And no testing, just...
all the time.
We got up and got this
all the
rocket,
time.
took off, went to the moon, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, a lot of Globers, people that don't believe the Earth is flat, you know, and actually believe that they did land on the moon. There's a lot of people actually think there was only one. Yeah, that's just a frustrating part of it. The fact that they actually landed 6 times, you know.
Well, there was also the ones that say,
7 attempts.
They went and they didn't test anything. But they did test. They had all the Gemini, all the early Apollos, the Geminis, the Mercuries.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, you get that, especially on Facebook, a lot, all the time. But anyway, I'll let you play the video.
Yeah, okay.
Been halfway through this thing for months. But if you're like me, then you might want to check out Blinkist, who are the sponsor for this video. Blinkist of books, titles available, and you can either
translunar injection,
blah, 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 blah.
translunar injection, TLI.
I myself have just finished listening to Shoot for the Moon, but I hadn't quite realised the extent of requirements that were in place for the astronauts joining in the early days of spaceflight. And Blinkist Premium users can now take advantage of the person at a 7-day free using my link. Memberships have been speaking to people on the moon whilst he's on a landline phone, since, as the name implies, landline phones send their signal through physical phone lines. Well, these people might be in for a shock if anyone ever calls their mobile phone from a landline. Yes, a landline phone can't directly phone the moon, but in Houston, the Capcom was in near constant radio contact with the crew throughout the entire mission. Nixon didn't pick up the phone and dial the area code for the moon. He merely phoned Mission Control in Houston, who patched the phone call into Capcom's radio feed, and so the phone conversation was just sent through the radio transmissions. Now, the call took place just before midnight in the US, and at that time on that date, the moon wasn't actually visible in the sky above Houston. So the radio feed was relayed to a tracking station in Australia that could see the moon and transmitted the call to the astronauts. And then their responses would do the reverse, being picked up by receivers on Earth and relaying it back to Capcom in Houston, and then through the phone lines back to the White House. Which brings us to the third and final argument. For the phone call to make such a long journey, halfway around the Earth and then 250,000 miles across space, it would take some time, which would cause a noticeable delay between one person speaking and the other person hearing them. But it's claimed there was no delay in the conversations between Nixon and Apollo 11. Except that's just wrong.
There is a delay.
Watch the original recordings of the phone call and you can see there is around a 6-second delay from Nixon finishing talking to Armstrong beginning to respond.
All the people on this earth are truly one. One in their pride in what you have done, and one in our prayers that you will return safely to earth.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor and privilege for us to be here.
The signal takes less than 1.5 seconds to travel between the Earth and the Moon. So Nixon finishes speaking. 1.5 seconds later, Armstrong hears his final words, has a pause of a few seconds to make sure that's the end of his actual statement. Armstrong then responds, and 1.5 seconds later, Nixon hears it. I think where people get the impression that there's no delay is with the fact that Nixon begins responding as soon as Armstrong finishes speaking.
Honor for us to be able to participate here today.
Yeah, because
thank you very much.
From Earth.
Look forward, all of us look forward to seeing you on the Hornet on Thursday.
Except what we're hearing is being recorded in the Oval Office itself. The audio's being recorded as Nixon hears it. We're hearing the conversation from Nixon's perspective, which is why we get a full 6-second delay hearing Armstrong, yet no delay from Nixon. Anyone that's ever had a video call will know that you respond the moment the other person stops speaking, but then there's a delay waiting for the other person to get back to you.
Are you talking right now?
Yeah,
or
I'm trying to. Go ahead.
Alright, this is.
And most
I
of the
do that all the
time when
time.
this sort of footage is being shown in documentaries and the likes, the pauses are often cut out in order to keep the flow of the program going. So
Yeah.
I think that covers everything regarding the Nixon phone call. Once again, thank you to Blinkist for sponsoring this video. And don't forget to check out their incredible offer. We will see you in the next video.
Part of the problem is if you do a Google search of Nixon's phone call, most of the videos you'll find is with the delays edited out.
Yeah,
that's part of the problem. So because when people search for it, that's what they'll often find, and they say, "Oh, there's no delay," but what they don't realise is they're not looking at the original. It's because people just don't want to edit out dead air. Why bother? So they just edit it out. So but they don't listen to the original recording.
The other thing is
that's the other part of the problem as well.
You don't. What was I going to say? There's a few things that were filmed in there that you only see the edited film that came later. Like there's some footage where people say, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing the lander actually land on it," and they said, "No, you didn't. You saw an animation."
Not live, you didn't.
No,
not live.
They had an animation, and then later on, the animation got edited to not have the animation and to have real footage. But yeah, that's
Reason being because the communication system they had at the time, unified S-band, they didn't have enough bandwidth for both voice data, telemetry data, and also live TV. It just took out too much bandwidth. So that's why in the original, all you hear is, all they could hear, with the TV broadcast was just the audio. And like you said, the TV networks use the animation just for, some sort of visual representation, because you need something. You don't want to just watch whatever his name was sitting at the desk getting all excited about the moonlight. It's boring. So they need some sort of... So obviously when the recording of it, done by the camera on board the LEM, it was brought back, and then the audio was put with it. That's the connection. But nobody actually saw the actual landing sequence live at all.
Well, two guys did.
Well, two guys did, yeah. Yeah.
Well, not from the moon, though.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Yeah.
I was going to say, this is where that signal was. This is if on YouTube, you'd have to probably see it. I got Google Earth up. Honeysuckle Creek's where that.
There's a book. There's a book. Oh, sorry. Timbo.
No, just saying, Honeysuckle Creek's where that signal came through in Australia, which is just south of Canberra. There's Canberra.
I highly recommend a book I got a couple of months ago, by the way, and it's called Moon Hoax Debunked. It's by a guy called Paolo Attivissimo.
Yeah.
Highly recommend you get it. It's got all the known moon hoax theories inside it. It's really, really good. So I can highly recommend if anybody wants to get that book.
And
Very
given
good, very useful to me.
Given the historical value of the moon landings, you can see what we've got left of the Honeysuckle Creek doesn't exist. It was all dismantled. There's nothing left. Oh, well, I want to say nothing.
Oh, there's nothing left anymore. Oh,
there's no buildings. No. There's stories in
Canberra. That is tragic.
There's stories in Canberra. Well, it wasn't being used. They stopped sending people to the moon. It wasn't.
I know, but from a historical, perspective.
Oh, you can go there.
That's a shame. It really is.
You can go there. There's appropriate memorials and not memorials, plaques, etc.
Yeah, but it could have been turned into like a little sort of attraction museum, and even if it just had the original building with some of the old equipment in it,
There's stories though in Canberra,
even if they didn't have the dish,
There's stories in Canberra of people getting all the stuff out of when they were, taking the equipment, etc. Because obviously it wasn't any
shame.
use to anybody, so it's spread around a bit.
Yeah.
That's the actual building. You can see where the dish used to be over there. It's a
I don't know.
driveway.
Are you showing something because we're not?
Oh, sorry, it's on
we're not seeing
YouTube,
where
so you
you're
can't see it. Yeah. Sorry, it's out on YouTube, but you can't see it. So, yes, so it's the bush is slowly taking it. Do have toilets out there, so it's a park. You can go out there and wander around the park. It's probably it's not a bad spot.
Still a nice place to visit, but
nice place to have a picnic. That's what I said. So I'll take a second or two to come up on YouTube for you, but that's where the dish used to be. I don't know if I
that
can
bit
get
just
in
there. Oh, okay.
This bit here, I think I can drop it in there.
Oh, there, that round bit, yeah.
Yeah. So they've put a bit of a memorial and a bit of a thing and where it was, but it's not where it is anymore, obviously. Nothing left. Yeah, so you can go there, but just there's no buildings or anything. And, of course, there's a bit of a battle between parks. Parks, of course, is still exists, and that's where the movie The Dish came from, but the actual signal came through here first and then there second.
Honeysuckle Creek, yeah.
Anyway, thought I mentioned it. Well, 12:01.
What's the reason they chose that particular location? Just because it's in the middle of nowhere, I suppose.
It's cause, I suppose.
Miles from anywhere. Yeah.
In Australia, sorry, I'll put it back up so you can see it. The one. So it's near Canberra would have been probably one. Middle of nowhere in the sense that it's in the bush.
It's out the way.
I'd probably guess that Honeysuckle Creek was set up in the pretty much in the centre of the Capital Territory, so you can see on YouTube, you'll see catch up the boundary for the Australian Capital Territory. So that's the capital cities up the top, but that's the boundary line on there is the edge of the state. It's sort of in the middle of that. Obviously, there's nothing around it to have in a way of interference. There's no cities, no nothing. So that's one thing, but it's not that far from Canberra, so they can get back and forth.
No.
So you had the National University, etc., obviously associated in Canberra and the government, etc. So I suspect that had something to do with why it ended up being there.
Probably does not lie. I'm sure it doesn't lie underneath any published air routes and stuff like that.
No. No.
Did was it the same? Did Honeysuckle Creek also use a communication with the Mercury capsules as well, Lou?
Yes.
Was it the same place?
Well, yeah, I believe it was all set up.
Also for the same place, yeah.
So I think Honeysuckle Creek, I'm just doing a quick search here. It was even around when Skylab was still around, actually. So it was decommissioned 81. So
81? Okay.
81, yeah. I'm just trying to see when they actually set it up. But no, it did the moon landings in 69. I know it did some stuff before that, though. It doesn't say.
Mercury before that as well? Yeah.
You'd think so, but yeah.
So Mercury, Gemini, Apollo.
Well, they ran in 67. A lot of these things, it's a bit hard to say because obviously they build up depending on what they need. So, what was actually there in 67? Yeah. So, according to this, they're saying 67 was the start of Honeysuckle Creek as a body. So, whatever's around in that area of space exploration, I would have had some involvement. And that's a long way from Parks, so I don't. Parks is up here, which is the other satellite, other dish that you hear about, and it's located outside of Parks. It's actually down here somewhere, down this way, because I did some highway work on this road, and we called it the dish because it was close to the dish. Can't remember where it is now. Somewhere there, somewhere between Forbes, which is that one, and Parks, which is that one. So. And that's out there because there's not a lot out that way either, so it's very flat. Yeah, there you go. Well, I think that's probably about time to end the stream, guys. Thanks for those out in the peanuts that came. I'll appreciate anyone who turns up. It's always good to have you here. I'll put that on intro. And we might finish it up. I'll start again on Saturday. I did reach out to Terry. Terry, if you're secretly hiding in there, catch up sometime, see what you're up to. I don't think I got a response. No. And I'll say goodnight. I'll say goodnight to Peanuts, people.
Good night.
Night, Peanuts.
Night, Peanuts.